it was super nice to go be part of and witness our old producer Nick Schwartz get married and everything. It was beautiful. We'll talk about some things that happened. Cody had an obsession over one particular thing throughout the first night,
sure did.
As well. But it was gorgeous. The whole wedding, the venue, everything. It was a great trip out there. But it's good to be back. And I always yes, it's good to step away. But I feel like whenever there's stuff that happens and goes on, this is just where
FOMO?
Yeah, for sure. I've talked about this before. Like, don't get me wrong. Standing by the beach and stuff is nice, but when I see certain things happen, doing what we do for a living and sports, and I'm like, man, I have thoughts. I have thoughts on things, and it bugs me when I'm not part of that particular convo for a week. Like during the Royals winning 16 of 18 prior to this weekend, like I was a little bummed we weren't here for that.
You wanted to be a part of it,
because
sure.
we were telling people 3+ weeks ago that the season wasn't over and they weren't cooked. So I wanted.
And now you got to come in after they've lost 2 or 3, so those fans are going to be right back.
But yes, it is good to be back. Text line, good to see you guys. Hear from you at 913-586-7965. Video stream is kind of up and running today. We'll bear with us on that. But Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, you can check out the show as it is up and running. Hopefully.
It's up at the moment.
Good. Perfect.
Obviously, they were having some technical issues in the morning, and then we hope that that won't be a problem here going forward. Nick got married, if anybody was worried. He'd run at the altar or any of the stuff that could go really bad at a wedding. They both showed up. They both said, I do. They are officially married. It's the same person he was obviously with during the time he was on this show and dating long distance at the time, and eventually moved to the same city she was in. So, Nick is married. You can send him your congratulations. It's official. Lovely setting, by the way. We can get to the wedding stuff later, but yeah, it was nice. It was nice to be away and be at the wedding.
Let's start with some Royals baseball today. Then we'll get into what's going to happen throughout this week. The NFL was quick to announce the announcement for next year's games, and there's already info coming out today, including one thing that the Chiefs are going to have to deal with right away to open up week 1, it looks like, based on some reporting. But have you guys changed your expectations since we've been gone on the Royals, right? I understand the weekend series did not go the way you wanted. And
but the homestand still went really well.
Homestand did. They still have won, 17 of 20 or 16 of 20, something like that at this point in time. But the American League Central is looking once again like it's going to be ultra competitive for a second straight year. The Twins have won 8 straight, 4 winning teams in the Central. The Royals have the 3rd best odds to win the Central, and yet we all know where they're at in terms of their record and how well they've been playing. And at one point, we're the hottest team in baseball prior to Friday night's game. And it was not that long ago, 2 years actually, heading into last season even, so less than 2 years, we were saying, hey, the AL Central stinks. All you got to do is get to like 86 games and you can win it. That is not everybody up their game in the Central. Anymore. You notice that? Like everybody up their game in the Central at the same time, with the exception of the Chicago White Sox. And it's been because of pitching, which we'll discuss at 11 o'clock. But that is what is kind of weird for me. The expectation was always this year to go compete and win the American League Central. That hasn't changed. That's still the case here on May 12th. And no matter what their record is on June 1st or July 1st, that's going to be my expectation. That they raised the bar last year. What has changed, though, is what it's going to take to do that. Because a year or two ago, you would have said that 86, 87 wins, you'd probably almost lock in.
Every year, almost.
An American League Central title. Whereas, yet again, it's looking like you might have to be a 90-win team.
So my expectations are back in the division camp. I never buried the Royals. You and I talked about this. We went on the show. But the odds I thought of them winning the division were starting to, it was starting to be a little more fleeting, Gold, where I'm like, hey, you dug yourself enough of a hole. It's going to be a big challenge. I'm not sure that you'll be in that same mix now. No, they're in the same mix as everyone else. They're 2.5 games back. Same as the Guardians of the Minnesota Twins. It's so funny. They finally lose 2 in a row, the Royals. And then the Tigers lose 2 in a row. And then the Guardians finally lose 2 in a row. So they're all just kind of matchbooking each other throughout the season. Because when the Royals kept winning, so did the other teams. So they couldn't play any catch-up, at least on that end. But no, they are still kind of who they are. And we can get into more of this as we go on. But the winning team versus losing team, this team can pitch. Expectations are like, okay, we're back in the division conversation again. I get a scoreboard watch a little bit, how the Tigers are doing week to week, how the Guardians are doing week to week. But do I think now I expect them to go deeper in the playoffs? No. The AL Central is a bit of a nightmare. That's the one part where you could say, if they don't win the division, because we thought the next logical step, Gold, was You made the playoffs. Now go win.
No,
or
that's still
compete for
my
the division.
expectation. That's still the bar. They did that to themselves last year.
Tough division.
Of course it is.
Tough division.
And the Tigers are in front right now. They're minus 175 at FanDuel to win the division. The Guardians send that plus 450. Then the Royals are plus 470, followed by the Twins still even there.
We've won 8 in a row.
At 6-1, and that's because, they've won 8 in a row. So everybody's winning. And yes, it does have some similarities to last season, Cody, where right now the big conversation, I think, at least among some of my friends, is yet again, all right, what are they doing against winning teams? What are they doing against, below 500 teams? And much like last season, they're beating up on teams they should beat up on, and still the jury is out on what they can do against potential playoff teams.
And they couldn't score this weekend.
This past weekend against the Red Sox, of course, would be an example of that. Now, they have I think they have, 9 more against the White Sox still? That's the good thing on the schedule.
They got the Rockies again, or what's the deal?
I don't think so.
Because that might be the worst team in Major League Baseball history.
The Rockies in the last 2 days have given up 50 runs or something. It's insane.
I did like that they went with the Jordan Hudson meme after the game on Saturday. They lost 20 to whatever, and they just
20 to nothing or 21 to nothing.
And they just sent out the meme that just said, "We're not talking about this." Of her,
the Padres absolutely destroyed the Colorado Rockies. But anyway, we can talk later in the week about strength of schedule and where the Royals are the rest of the way. But point being, it seems very similar in terms of that convo around them. And they're winning, and as we found out last year, the whole, hey, they can't beat good teams thing, it's going to prevent them from making the playoffs, and that was false. It puts you in a spot where you need to continue to dominate lesser opponents, and you got to find ways to steal a few, but it can be done. Can you win the division without going out there, though, and beating teams like the Red Sox? No. Now, can you be a playoff team? Yes. But to win the division, yes, they're going to have to start beating some teams that are viewed as playoff teams. And that is where we get back into the bigger conversation that we're going to have for the next 2 months, I'm sure, which will be around the trade deadline. And what do they need to go get? We all know what it is. And how are they going to do that? And does that mean at one point later on the year is Caglione part of the equation? He's still in AA, so we're a long ways off of that happening.
It is a Monday, though.
It is a Monday.
That is the natural call-up day for minor leaguers.
Look, it can happen at any time. I'll still stick with the original Memorial Day timeline for a variety of things. Memorial Day timeline is when they've moved on from Hunter Dozier in the past, so that could be the Hunter Renfro timeline. That is, to me, an opportunity, if that were to happen, that you would bump somebody up from AAA, therefore you would bump Cags to AAA. That's still the timeline I'll stick with, but of course, it could happen any day.
I just like the division. The only part that opens up to that is maybe I don't need to call. Now, they're back it would be a disappointment if they missed the postseason camp.
Oh, 1,000%.
And that was my feeling before the year. That was my feeling even during the losing streak. So that hasn't necessarily changed. But if you weren't in that, you should have a lot of resolve in that regard. The only thing I'll say about the division is that all these teams are the same. They can all pitch and no one can hit. So you're not at a disadvantage in the American League Central in that regard. And Jack Caglione, my stance has been, and we talked about this maybe a week ago, my stance has been, I'm ready for him to be in AAA because I want them to have the maximum amount of information on Jack Caglione before it comes to trade deadline time. Because if you just go outside the AL Central and not just look at that, it's a mess. So the entire American League stance, so you're like, all right, who's going to be trading, who's not going to be trading away? There are two absolutely garbage teams in baseball right now. They are the Chicago White Sox, a team that was one of the worst teams in baseball last year, and the Colorado Rockies, the team we'd mentioned earlier. And everybody knows they stink. Everybody knows if they have pieces you want, maybe Luis Robert, or I don't know if the Rockies have any good players. It certainly doesn't seem like they do, but even the worst teams in the league have a player to trade. So that's an answer. But look across baseball, Gold. There are a lot of teams stuck in the middle. It's not going to be that easy to find a corner outfield bag.
We've started to see this, though, since they added the additional wild card teams. It's more. This is why it's been good for baseball. More fans in markets believe their team is in it, and later. And that looks like it'll potentially continue and find out who's actually sellers. Although you never know. I mean, a team like the Pirates last year were like a game out and they sold still.
I hate
and their ownership sucks in Pittsburgh. And then they already fired their manager this year. We all know they have Paul Skeens. I feel like he's just waiting out the clock here for 5 more years.
How many years
when he can
ARB do I have?
Where he eventually gets traded or whatever. But man, I think the question will be out of the Central in particular, though. A month and a half-ish from now. Because remember, somebody wants to jump the line. Mm-hmm. Somebody in early June is going to jump the line and make a big trade. The Royals were pretty quick a year ago when they went out and made a trade or two. They've done that before. Who's going to jump the line in June? Because I don't think you can even cap. May is too early. I have no problem with anybody.
Yeah, no,
June, at some point in June, is somebody willing to jump the line to pay a premium, potentially, or they think they're getting a better deal to go get that bat? And a lot of things, injuries are going to play a role in all this for all these teams. But yes, the Central right now is looking much like a year ago, man. It's going to be really, really competitive down to the final week.
When they traded for Ursig, they ended up being ahead of the market, which was very smart. Yep. Because as we saw the reliever market as time went on, man, it was not cheap. It got kind of pricey across the board, and that's kind of where you land. I was just looking, how many teams are within, 3 games of 500? I mean, there are more than just the Rockies and the White Sox are bad teams. You mentioned Pittsburgh across the board. But, yeah, they're going to have to at some point make kind of a decision on that. But, yeah, it was fun to watch the Royals go on a hot streak like that. Did it stink watching them lose 2 or 3 against the Red Sox this weekend? Sure, including Saturday, which was – games that happen in baseball sometimes, which is just don't have to watch this one. That's just an ass kicking. Okay, moving on. Those are actually easier than yesterday where you're it's 1-1 in the 6th. You make one mistake, it gets sent over the wall, and then you don't have enough offense to make up the difference.
And because of the pitching, you would and I know they've lost 2 in a row, but you would like to think that long losing streaks, when you have pitching like this, aren't going to happen. You can keep these down to a 2 or 3 game losing streak. They don't become 6 or 7. They had the one long streak there, obviously, but typically you think with this pitching that's not going to be the case. We'll get back to the Royals, obviously, throughout the show today. We'll also talk about Jack Caglione some more coming up in about 35 minutes or so. But this week is the week where the NFL puts out the actual networks and times. We already know the opponents, of course, for the Chiefs. That's been known for a very long time, and typically, even a year in advance for the most part. But on Wednesday night, the NFL will do that schedule release show, and they've made this for years now, this big production. Today, one of the networks started announcing stuff. Tomorrow, I think, will be another. Fox is on Wednesday.
Someone will be on the Today Show tomorrow morning announcing their game on.
And that was today, I think, actually, was the Today Show that did theirs. No, but you're right.
I didn't realize what show it was
I think that was them today. Prime is tomorrow. So they've been building this up. But I want to talk about the Chiefs part of this for a second. We can get into the NFL kickoff as a whole and what they've announced just to fill you in. But there's now another report from Front Office Sports. This goes back to even a couple months ago when there was the initial one. Everybody believes now, and it almost seems like a certainty, that the Chiefs are going to play week 1 at the Chargers, not in L.A., but in that Sao Paulo, Brazil site, because the Chargers, we already know, are hosting that game, that Friday night. And that would be the game that it looks like is going to be on YouTube. Don't worry, locally, they will make it to where you can watch. But it'll be on YouTube is where it's trending. I know the league is going international. I'm not anti it. I'm really not. I understand. Money, marketing dollars, all of it. We all know the Chiefs played in Germany a couple years ago. What I don't like, what I can't stand about this, to me, you don't mess with divisional games, man. You don't mess with divisional games. You do not make those international. We went back and looked. Out of the international games the last 10-plus years now or whatever, most of them are not. There's a handful.
Yeah, I pointed out 1 or 2.
There's a handful that are divisional games. I know why the NFL wants it. It's very obvious. We know, just like last year, the Chiefs are primetime money grab ratings, slam dunk. But I don't like divisional games being played overseas. That's crazy to me. And yeah, the Chargers, it ends up being a Chiefs home game when you're out in LA anyway. So maybe that's why they felt like this one was an okay to do. Because in general, I think it's crazy. If they were to do the flip and the Chiefs were losing a home game for a divisional home game, there's no way, I don't think that the Chiefs would be on board with that. They're on board with this, and Clark Hunt is fine with it because they're the road team anyway, and it's a good showcase once again.
So they don't care because of that end, and they like getting the advertisement dollars and the standalone and all the stuff you said. The Chargers are cowards. They know this is a more neutral field than their own stadium. That's why they're willing to give up a divisional game. Because for the most part, I in theory agree with you in the sense that divisional games should be more protected, because when the schedule plays out, and this matters more because I've watched Andy Reid during this run, and we watched Schottenheimer in the 90s, and I watched, John Elway and the Broncos and all this other stuff. In runs in this division in particular, the one we follow the most in Kansas City, how you fare against your own decision decides a lot for your season. Not all of it, but it decides a lot for your own season. Do you have a chance to win the division? How high of a seed you are in the playoffs? It seems like it a lot of times come down to those 6 games. But because the Chargers game isn't really a home game anyway, it doesn't feel like the same juice to me. Like, I'm not as heartbroken by it because, yeah, they're cowards for running away. But, like, divisional game in what way? There's only one road divisional game left in this in the Chiefs schedule every year, and it's Denver. It's not Vegas. It's not L.A., and so part of it is just there. Plus, I also think if we're running into the Chiefs, which is the thing that I have to kind of blindly accept, Gold, even though I agree in principle that, like, protect division games. Running out of options of games to protect for Kansas City. They'll probably end up being on that standalone Saturday game on Peacock Plus on December 27th, if they're not on Christmas. And they'll end up playing on 4 or 5 days of the week again, or 6 days of the week like last year.
The question will be, when's that bye week? If you're going to do that, that'll be something we'll talk about on Wednesday, I'm sure, or Thursday, after the schedule's out, is how early, how late. Remember, Chris Jones publicly complained about it a year ago. I'll be curious, do the Chiefs have an early bye week again, or is it like week 13
Yeah, if you're
this
jagging
year?
with my schedule all the time, give me the late bye week at least as the benefit.
I'll be honest, too. Like, the Germany site looked incredible when they were in Frankfurt, right? And there's talk in a couple of years they could end up in Madrid, Spain, or whatever. Sao Paulo, Brazil, wasn't that the same site that had field issues last year as well, that Eagles-Packers game? I'm just saying, like, if you're going to have a divisional game, you better make sure that field is in top shape at that point in time. That is, as much as I want to go internationally at some point to see a Chiefs game, this one, no interest in going to Sao Paulo, Brazil. I'll just be honest. I'm curious. There's already Chiefs fans, of course, all over the world and all that. It's not meant for, they're not trying to entice Kansas City people to go to these games. It's more about,
they're trying to get everybody in South America.
This would be last on the list. Like, I'll pick Spain, Germany. There's a lot.
Sao Paulo would be pretty low, huh?
Yes. I have very little interest. Remember, there was the stories last year heading into it. They were worried about, they were telling players not to leave their hotel rooms and everything. So, yeah, I don't like the Sao Paulo thing at all.
They're telling staff members that, I know, too. Like, just stay at the hotel, get on the shuttle, and then go outside of it. But it's just, this goes back to the same problem that exists anyway, which is the NFL has too many mouths to feed. In order to maximize their profits, they need more standalone games on standalone networks on individual days. So, like, this Friday game, this is here to stay forever. There will be the opener on Thursday night, and every single year for the rest of human existence where the NFL is played, there will be a game, clearly, internationally, on Friday, because it's their way of sneaking in an extra international week without having to give you a bye,
and look,
without having to do this other stuff. So they're already, like, part of me is like, they're already screwing the Chiefs schedule again is my biggest gripe. They're already messing with it again, and their schedule last year was a nightmare.
At least the international game, you're done in week one. Like, you essentially have all the time in the world to decide when you want to leave for Brazil and how you're going to organize your training camp schedule, if it's altered at all because of it, and preseason schedule and how you manage that, and how early do you get to Brazil. My guess is the Chiefs will get there only like 2 or 3 days before. We know they don't like to get there a whole week early usually for this kind of stuff. So they're done. Like, you're not having the short turnaround, right? You're going to be done Friday. You'll actually have more time for the next week. It's similar to playing on Thursday. And you're going to Brazil. You're not going, time zone wise, it's not the worst one, right? There's some that are much worse. Going to Germany would have been way worse than going to Brazil from a time zone perspective.
Yeah.
So it could be way worse. Mine is more about the divisional stuff. But the Chargers, I'll be curious what the fan breakdown is there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it'll still be more. I mean, how many Chargers fans exist? Let alone want to go all the way to Brazil. And so I still assume there'll be more Chiefs fans, but that's just an international audience. It'll be more of a mixed bag across the board. I will say, at this point, it's probably safe to assume that the Chiefs have more international fans than the Chargers, too.
Oh, for sure.
Just based on the fact that they've been winning year after year after year after year.
What Chargers player right this second, other than Justin Herbert, you're like, oh, wow, what a star. I mean, seriously. We all like Lad McConkey, but I'm talking about like international star.
Too quiet to be like an international
star.
There
is not an international star on the Chargers right now.
Nope.
And I'm not saying every team has one either, but like just to what we're discussing here, there's not. It's
like
not
one
even
of the 15 biggest faces in the NFL. NFL's harder for faces.
Heck,
right?
It might be Harbaugh. I don't even know. But that's not even a real answer.
No, I don't think they have one.
They don't.
That's the truth. I don't. I don't think it's Lad McConkey.
No,
I just don't think they have one right now.
Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll talk more Chiefs specifically on the field and how this offense could operate. We know training camp's still about 2+ months away, but we'll discuss that, and we'll talk more about our trip out to Santa Cruz, California for Nick's wedding. So, Cody obsessed over something at the welcome party, and it's a very Cody thing.
I'm glad that
I stand by it.
It's a very Cody thing.
There's going to be a story that comes.
There's a couple things.
I knew there would be something. I just knew it.
A couple things came up.
There's a couple things we'll get to. I'm thinking of things that came up while we were on vacation. I got a couple texts.
Oh no!
I got 3 to 4 different texts, Drew, from people saying you were trying to rein Bink in.
Oh, yeah.
And that the show went off the rails and you sounded a little frustrated with Bink.
Frazzled even.
That he started the show talking about booty calls and other things. What the heck happened while we were gone?
Well, there was somebody who was texting in and wasn't too fond of Bink's terminology. So much so that Bob and Dusty continued to bring it up the very next day. Like, hey, Bink, this person's still coming after you.
So they were egging him on.
They were egging him on, and Bink took the bait.
That's never good. That's never good.
It got to the point where Logan would monologue, and Bink's just I just look at the responses, and Bink is just responding to this person, and it's like, Bink, let's direct our attention to talking about the Royals and how good they are, maybe, not the fact that the White Sox stink. I
was told you were very frustrated, and Friday you were very happy Friday at 1:55.
Look, it might have sounded like that.
Someone said you were throwing fisticuffs all week on the text line.
I clarified on Friday that it was a long week, and I'm looking forward to, having you guys back is great. Logan and Bink also did a great job filling in for you guys. I'm also going on vacation to visit my brother and sister who I haven't seen in about a year now, so I'm looking forward to it very much. I'm been counting down the days. So it was an interesting week. Yes. Bink, we talked about Mother's Day a little bit. I prohibited Bink from mentioning something that he wanted to about Mother's Day.
Yeah, text line said you guys were talking about MILFs. Is that true?
Bink wanted to talk about that, but I strongly suggested
but did
otherwise.
You?
I don't think it came up. No,
okay.
I think it came up in
text line just keeps.
We've never had a song for Mommy's Day. We just Happy Daddy.
It came up it came up in pre-show, and I was like, I was asking Mac, I was asking Kramer, I was like, is he even allowed to say this? Or I was
sure.
I was like, Bink, we just don't need to do this. You know, we really don't need to do this.
Yeah, you can say acronyms on the air. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're safe. I think you're safe there. I wouldn't go through saying the.
Someone says Bink was on his best behavior for you.
Wow.
Well,
Drew disagrees.
I think Bink, it was. He's Bink.
Okay. We were worried about you, you know?
Yeah,
it seemed like you were having a stressful week.
Multiple texts. There was a lot going on.
Yeah, there was.
And multiple people said, yeah, you got to help. You guys, Drew needs you back.
In the end, I was just an exhausting week, and I was ready to be done. And then I was excited to go to.
Yeah, NASCAR. That was your week. This past weekend was Drew's weekend. I
was so excited.
Yeah, NASCAR. Did you enjoy the races?
I was so excited to go to the race, and then Saturday night I had food poisoning. And I was recovering yesterday, and I didn't even get to go.
So our whole conversation about Chinese buffets versus Chinese food, did you go to a Chinese buffet Friday night?
I did not.
Where'd you eat Friday?
I have no clue.
Don't name the place.
Just
tell us the type of food.
Just fast food takeout I had on Friday.
Okay.
Which I do think I did mention to my wife. I did say, for some reason, this doesn't, it's not as crispy as it normally is, the food. And I don't know if that potentially.
I know where you went. Okay.
But I no I don't think you do. During the break, I'll tell you where I went and where this food was. But I don't. But
so you didn't actually go to your Super Bowl, your NASCAR race on Sunday.
I was so disappointed. So much so.
Who won?
Kyle Larson won, the guy that we had on the show.
He was on this show last week?
Kyle called into the show as he was headed to the Royals again to throw out the first pitch. He dominated yesterday, but I was so down bad. Of course, where I live in the Legends, I can hear the cars. I went outside on the balcony and hung out and listened to the cars.
Did you call your mom yesterday?
I did call my mom
Even though
yesterday.
you were feeling a little sick?
And mind you, I also threw shade at my brother and sister because I called my mom yesterday.
All right.
And about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, she goes, well, apparently I'm not the best mother after all. And I was like, ooh, I know who you're throwing shade at now. So I called my brother and sister.
You were the first call at 2 in the afternoon?
No. I know. I called her in the morning. Later in the day at 2 in the afternoon.
They still hadn't called her?
She said something. And then I was like, hang on a second.
Not good.
You can. I was like, Mom, you can vouch for me. I definitely called. She said, that you did.
Aren't you guys all getting together? Because you're out of town later on this week.
Yes.
It sounds like it might be needed for you. But
I would say so. Yes, I'll be the first.
Are you? Is this the family trip where you get upset that they didn't have the beach reserved for you, or is that a different trip?
Oh no, this is the trip in July. This is the trip in July.
Okay.
And I'll have to come back
because I thought you were about to. Okay.
Yeah, this is not that trip.
There's a lot of people accusing you of things. I can't confirm any of these. People are saying, Drew, you had to abuse the dump button last week. Someone said, Drew, you went to Quick Trip without asking during the show.
There was
all kinds of things.
Bink was very mad at me because before the show meeting, our show meeting, we started late because Logan was having issues with traffic. He got in late one day, and I was like, look, I'm really hungry. I need to go into Quick Trip. I'm going to get a drink. And I didn't ask them if they wanted anything, and so I went and I got something for myself. But Bink really overreacted to this point where, in fairness, I should have asked, but also if they wanted something, hey, do you mind getting this for me? I think that would have sufficed.
Bink's got to ask. He's got to ask.
I think that would have sufficed.
Tough.
All right.
Unscheduled trips to Quick Trip. Logan showing up late.
I don't know what happened. Last week,
all kinds of stuff.
Last week sounds like things got crazy. You gone for 4 shows. And
we weren't gone that long. The whole building was falling apart.
Things fell apart.
All spiked by food poisoning at the end of the week. I mean,
I got like 70 emails last week. I felt like there was a lot going on.
Texts and emails, waking up to both of them. Not great. All right, up next.
To live my life.
Up next, we're going to talk more about the Chiefs in particular and what this offense could look like come this fall, plus an update on what occurred over the weekend at Nick's wedding, including Cody's obsession. Next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
For over 8 years, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain, with over 50,000 satisfied patients. People with knee and back pain now living pain-free. Shoulder and hip pain, gone. What they're doing is nothing short of remarkable. They're using regenerative cell therapy to restore the tissue in their achy joints. They're using biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life. The best part, with QC Kinetics, there are no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. It's an all-natural cellular level option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoy this summer without being slowed down by that awful joint pain in your knees or your back. Call QC Kinetics now and learn about these cutting-edge treatments that can help you live your best life. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. It's QC Kinetics.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer? You want the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. That's KCPI, the Kansas City Proton Institute. KCPI has a full suite of the most advanced imaging and treatment technology necessary to localize high-intensity proton beams. That's a critical part of maximizing cure rates while minimizing recovery time and long-term side effects. Proton therapy provides patients with the most advanced form of radiation treatments for cancer. It destroys cancer cells with supreme accuracy, reducing the risk of harmful side effects. KCPI has Kansas City's first and only system that uses pencil beam technology, resulting in precision targeting and less radiation to your surrounding healthy tissue. Proton therapy is now available in the comfort of an office at KCPI, making it more efficient and affordable than a hospital. So contact KCPI for the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. Don't wait. Get precision technology with the highest safety measures with KCPI. Online at kcpi.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. Come in today for incredible anniversary savings across the store. You'll find some of the hottest prices of the year, now through May 20th only. From fresh produce to family favorites, don't miss the unbeatable prices at every Cosentino's location. For 77 years, it's been our family's honor to serve yours. and we're just getting started.
Hey, KC, it's almost Andy Reid. Renner Garage Door isn't just opening doors this month, they're opening hearts in support of Mental Health Awareness Month. Renner is donating 5% of all sales to Authentic Life Foundation, supporting vital mental health services to those in need. For supporting this cause, you'll get 5% off your project. Call or visit rennerdoor.com, where quality and compassion open doors to a better community.
RENNER, RENNER.
Success is picking up extra shifts for your family. Now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door. Now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone, and University of Maryland Global Campus can help you reach your goals. And there's never been a better time to get started on your future. Apply now and save with no application fee. As an accredited state university, UMGC has been transforming lives for over 75 years. With more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, online and hybrid courses, personalized support, financial resources, and lifetime career services, achieving your dreams is more possible than ever before. Choose the program that's right for your career goals and get started on your next success. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
DQ presents How to Hit Summer's Sweet Spot. The new DQ Summer Blizzard Treat menu is here. And as the official treat of MLB, we're swinging big with our fan favorite S'mores Blizzard Treat. Plus, new mixing bowl mashup with brownie batter and chocolate chip cookie dough. And even more in our Stack Summer lineup. Hurry in today because nothing says summer like baseball and our new Summer Blizzard Treat menu. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super-sized laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Getting the job done right the first time protects your home, time, and budget. This month, get $500 off a water softener and filtration combo. Schedule at anthonyphce.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Just getting started here on a Monday. Good to be back with you guys. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon. Saw this during the break. How cool is this? So the NBA, we know, is going to start having games on NBC again. And we've known that for a little while. And that'll begin next season.
Basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Gimme.
But they just announced that Michael Jordan, yes, that Michael Jordan, not the actor, but Michael
B. Jordan.
No, Michael Jordan, as in
I still can't believe he
Michael
became
Jordan.
a super famous actor and his name is Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it's great. And he's a great actor.
Yes.
Michael Jordan, as in the basketball player, is going to be a special contributor for NBC. Now, how often he's going to appear, like he's not going to be hosting a studio show, okay? They're going to do special stuff. Okay. But that's kind of cool. There will be moments throughout the NBA season next year where I don't know if they're going to have him like interview players, if they're going to have him actually break down something, but he will be a special contributor on NBC's coverage next year, which I am very interested in just seeing how, because he's never really done any of that, right? Nothing. Nothing. He's invested in a bunch of stuff. He's involved with NASCAR.
He was in
involved
front
in all
office
this
stuff,
yeah,
which obviously prevented
with
him
the
from doing that for a
Bobcats,
long
back when it was the
time.
Charlotte Bobcats. But
I am kind of intrigued by what he has to say about the NBA playoffs because my gut instinct is that LeBron James will Michael Jordan spent a lot of time talking about how these guys stink. Don't have it. Don't have the chops. Don't have that killer mentality anymore. Don't we assume that that's going to be like part of what Michael Jordan brings to the table? He's a hater.
Some of it, I think,
and
maybe.
like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I am like, why wouldn't I like any other thing? For a special, I like it better in that way, by the way, than just doing it all the time. But the NBA, I mean, the NBA's biggest show has two of its biggest stars of all time, and Charles Barkley and Shaq on a show, and it works. So just as long as Michael Jordan has an opinion, and I think all three of us know that he does, I think it'll be entertaining.
Yeah, they
Plus
already.
It's cool. Like you said, he
It's
won all
gonna
his
be good
titles
for
on
the
NBC.
sport.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Is he played on his games were on NBC throughout much of his career, if not all his career. They already announced Jamal Crawford, Reggie Miller, and Carmelo Anthony are part of this, and then broadcast-wise, play-by-play-wise, I should say, Tirico and Noah Eagle are going to be doing the game. So NBC is going all in. They just signed this 11-year deal. It all begins next October, but cool to have, obviously, Michael Jordan. That's a huge get for NBC. All right, let's talk some Chiefs football, though, and we know that rookie minicamp is already wrapped up and everything, but we'll have OTAs and we'll have training camp before we know it. And
I saw Rice out at the track this weekend, even though Drew wasn't.
Rasheed Rice was out of Kansas Speedway with with Brett Veach, and I think Andy Reid was there, if I'm not mistaken.
You could have been in an elevator with Brett Veach again, Drew. You missed your opportunity.
Could have. That
Could have found out, although it's too late in the offseason.
Said, hey, is Rasheed getting suspended, Brett? Just asking while we're on the elevator together.
Yeah,
He's
right.
also here. You could have asked questions.
Still don't know. Still nothing on that, by the way. Nothing.
Do you
No,
think
crickets. It's May 12th.
I don't think he would know in May. I think they're going to do it before
We're
the
gonna
season.
We will not know. I don't think we will. Our first show in St. Joe. I bet you we don't have an answer then about potential suspension or not.
What are we going to know about first? If Rasheed Rice is just news about his suspension, either he's not getting suspended, he's getting suspended in the length,
okay,
or where the stadiums are going. A stadium. I don't even care about both.
Stadium.
Just
stadium?
one stadium is going.
One of the stadiums. Okay. But I had to think about it for a second.
It wasn't
I had to think
like
about it for a
immediate.
second. Thinking of him, though, where's the offense? Who's the offense running through? Last year, it was not supposed to be Travis Kelce until Rasheed Rice was out in that Chargers game, unfortunately, in Week 4. It was very clear that the offense was meant to run through Rice for the first part of the season, and it was supposed to be the whole season. Then he gets hurt, and then they had to pivot, and then clearly, they were asking Travis Kelce to do too much. That's where, in a weird way, Kelce could look better this year, even though they're asking him to do less. So, is it going to run through Rice? Yeah, because that was they've told us
he's coming off a major injury.
He is. He is definitely coming off a knee injury. What's to me clear from the Chiefs, now it doesn't mean it's going to work, but they have said we're running back the offense for the most part. We felt we had the personnel to be much better, but injuries really took us off course, and because of that, I assume, frankly, that the offense at the beginning of the season is going to be intended to run through Rasheed Rice.
I'm curious. The reason why I like this question is, and I don't think your assumption's bad, but it's right, probably in a lot of ways. The interesting thing about this to me is your three options are, in my opinion, Rice, Kelce, and then to a lesser extent, but I don't want to leave out of this conversation, Xavier Worthy. And so the reason why is Rice is coming off the major injury, looked to be the number one guy last year, but was not. So we don't ever have any full proof that was going to be the case for all 17 games or whatever. It did appear that it was headed that way.
First month,
totally agree.
basically, yeah.
No doubt. Travis Kelce, who it's run through for, 7 of the last 10 years, with the other 3 being Tyreek Hill, depending on the year, and then Xavier Worthy, who it definitely ran through Gold, I would argue, the last 6 weeks of the season, including the playoffs.
Yep.
So those are my choices. If you made me guess today, the answer is probably Rasheed Rice. But there is part of me that if I had to choose a second person, I'd actually choose Xavier Worthy, not Travis Kelce. I think it is time to scale back him first, then we feed everyone after. I think that part has already kind of settled. And if Rice is coming off a major injury, Worthy established himself as a major target. all it takes is a couple of deep throws and a few things in there. The only part that makes it challenging for Worthy is he's probably not going to be the target monster that either of those two guys are. And so can it really run through you if Rashee Rice gets 110 targets and Travis Kelce gets 99 targets and you get 80? And the answer is only probably if you get the deep ball, right? So we just assume Rashee Rice back in the lead role, huh? I mean, I don't think it's out of the question.
Because
I obviously think that's the favorite.
Because if he gets suspended, I think it's 6 games or less. And so, it's not, it wouldn't be enough of a suspension where I think they would change their entire plan. Like, it has always been discussed as a potential 6-game suspension. And now, as time has gone on, it could be even less. It could be even less than that. Now, I did see Mike Clay, who works over at ESPN. He does projections. So that's all these
Fantasy
are.
projections, like stats?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he, over the weekend, put out his updated Chiefs projections. So for wide receiver, here's his projection for the wide receiver room. Receiving yards. Do you guys care to guess who he has as the leading receiver? We were just talking about
Rice?
Yeah. Okay. Rashee Rice.
I guess.
85 catches for 959 and 6 touchdowns.
I'd have to guess Kelce second if you just made me handicap it, but he might have said Worthy.
He has Xavier Worthy, 70 catches, 927, so not far off, 7 touchdowns. Then Travis Kelce, 74 catches, 726 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So he'd be the third leading receiver on the team. Fourth leading would be Hollywood Brown, 669 and 4 touchdowns. And then after that, it's a huge drop-off, obviously.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Shockingly, Justin Ross, third-string tight ends, not going to save the day, it turns
Jared
out.
Wiley wasn't super high. Noah Gray.
Noah Gray
might be
304 projection.
Was Bringing Stool in there at all by chance? The
Who?
guy from Clemson.
Bringing Stool.
Robert Tonyan made the list before he did.
Am I wrong? Is that way short on Noah Gray? Didn't he have more than that last year?
He had more than 300 last year, but I think that goes back to
a lot of mouths to feed.
If the offense runs through Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy, I think in a way Kelce can look even better this year, even if the numbers are just because they're
more
not
effective.
Correct.
Every time he
The
catches,
yards
it looks
per catch,
better.
yards per catch could be back up from where it was a career low, I think, last year.
It was.
That's where it can be at. As far as the actual projection, like I think Rashee Rice or Worthy, one of them's having 1,000 yards, and the projection's about 70 yards off of that for Worthy and 40 yards off of that for Rice.
But that's where his projections are kind of back to my point that if you made me choose a second person that the offense is running through, I would choose Worthy, not Kelce. And again, that's not a knock on Kelce. It's just the way I think they want to fundamentally operate on offense. The only question I have about Worthy is the targets. Can he get enough targets for it to run through him? That's a challenge.
They had, in this projection, Mike Clay did, Worthy with the second most targets on the entire offense. 107 to get him 927. I don't either.
There's no universe.
They had Rice with 112 targets, and then they had Travis Kelce still with 101 targets. I think that
so they think it's just a three-headed monster, and they just attack all three guys equally.
I think Kelce's going to be in the 90s on targets this year. Worthy at 107. I mean, look, if that happens, that means the deep ball.
Smith didn't even have that.
I mean, that means the deep ball is absolutely insane again. Absolutely insane.
Are they
again.
accounting for Rashee Rice suspension? Is that where
this has good point. So this projection has Rice playing 14 games. And that's how they get to 959.
So they think it's running through.
They have Worthy only playing in 15 just because injuries and bleep happens, right?
Okay.
They have Hollywood Brown playing in 15. They have Kelce. They have everybody playing in 15. The only this is so weird. I don't know why, and I'm sure Mike Clay can give me a reason. He only has Mahomes projected to play 15 games. He only has Pacheco, Hunt, and Mitchell 14. He has Kelce to play in 15. The only player that he has projected to play in all 17 games is
Creed Humphrey.
The long snapper.
Skill position.
James Winchester.
Okay. Skill position. Carson Steele. I don't know why. Out of his chart.
To play?
In all 17.
He just figures if they get into week 18 that he'll still be
Mahomes is sitting out 2 games. We can get tomorrow we'll do Mahomes projections because I think the numbers seem he has Mahomes less than 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
So here's what I would say about the way the Chiefs offense work because I was just curious how close they are. In his defense, A.J. Brown, who we agree is who the offense ran through last year for the Philadelphia Eagles, he had 97 targets. They pass way less than Kansas City.
Sure, they got Saquon and Jalen Hurts.
So all these numbers would be juiced up a little bit. But Devonta Smith was only 8 targets short of that at 89.
Okay.
So before, my initial instinct is Worthy won't get targets close to that as Rashee Rice. But A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are about the same. They played the identical number of games at 13 games apiece.
Yeah.
And they were pretty much targeted an identical number. And so, like, it might be that, like, this whole conversation is funny. Who the offense runs through might actually be what his stats are. And instead, it's just this triumvirate of players all kind of getting an equal share.
One of the questions he asked was, like, too many mouths to feed a wide receiver. I don't ever believe that that's the case in an Andy Reid offense. There's never too many people to now, if you're wondering, the rookie Jalen Royals, they projected in this one 11 targets all year for 78 yards. That seems very low.
Honestly, in fairness,
that seems very
low. But at the same time,
11 targets though, Cody. Like I'm not saying he's going to have 700 yards, but like 11 targets seems in 14 games for whatever reason they only have him playing in 14 games.
That's low, but he is behind, assuming no injury. He is behind at least 7 people in targets at minimum. Sure. I think.
But this goes back to where I think
including
Mahomes
guys like Noah Gray and
this is because I think his Mahomes projections are off. He has Mahomes throwing 3,900 yards. I believe Mahomes will be over 4,000. I understand last year's numbers, but like in 15 games, Mahomes to me is playing 16 games, not 15 games. So we're just a little different on the projections there from Mike Clay.
Carrington had a post last week on Twitter while you guys were gone. I thought it was interesting. He asked if Jalen Royals if you could turn Jalen Royals into D-Rob next season, 30 catches, 350 yards,
Rams D-Rob,
three touchdowns. He just said D-Rob.
All right.
30 catches, 350, and 3 touchdowns. Are you doing it? Yes or
no?
no?
For next year? That's not his career numbers, just for 1 year?
For this upcoming season.
Yes.
And I was like, I think that's a home run.
To be clear, he's a third-round pick, or fourth-round pick. I'd probably lock in D-Rob's career now. If you just told me that Jalen Royals turned into a 10-year NFL serviceable wide receiver, sure, that sounds fine. I mean, I would prefer the upside, but there are way worse careers to have than DeMarcus Robinson's been in the league for 9 years.
Yeah, no, I career-wise is one thing. I mean, but just for next year, 100% I would lock in. What was the number? 300.
That's not what he had last year. He had
350.
Last year he had 31 catches for 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. The year before that, he had 26 for 371 and 4. So it averaged out over the last 2 years. Maybe
that's probably how he got to the number. No, I would sign up for that immediately. I just think the projections are
too low.
Projections are fun to look at. I also think the projections and the numbers are all screwed up because he doesn't have anybody playing in more than 15 games. I mean, I understand somebody's going to get hurt, but the entire Chiefs wide receiver room. In back-to-back seasons, we think that they're all playing 14 games. I understand last year Rice missed a chunk and so did Brown, but Mahomes only playing in 15.
What I also don't get is
maybe 16.
He is Carson. How is Carson still playing in all the games when he might be running back 5 on the depth chart?
100%
Special
with you.
Teams.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Special teams, and he wouldn't take time off even if they had stuff locked up.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get back into the Royals and talk about the pitching, which is actually better than a year ago. That's just crazy, but we'll talk about that. So you guys know it's we were gone obviously a couple days last week. Great to be back. Seriously, great to be back on the show, hanging out with you guys again. We were gone because our old producer Nick was getting married. The wedding was on Thursday, but wanted to get out there a day or two early. If I'm going to fly all the way to California, I want to obviously spend a few days. And it was a great trip. Loved it. It was gorgeous. The wedding was beautiful. Santa Cruz was gorgeous. All of it. There's a couple things that happened. You want to start with the welcome party? Let's start with the welcome party, which was Wednesday night. It's about 30 minutes outside of Santa Cruz, up in the
Take a little shuttle down in the mountains.
Huge, thousands of thousands of year old redwoods. I mean, beautiful. And they had a very nice cocktail hour and everything. And we're eating. And most people are just, drinking and eating and talking.
Yeah. It was like a wood-fired pizza situation. Very nice.
Cody lifts up his fork. Lifts it up.
Examines.
And it's like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're with your wife. I'm like, I'm standing next to you guys. I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, nice forks. I go, okay.
What?
He goes, nice forks.
This is exactly how it went, by the way. I'd love to refute this story.
And I'm like, okay. And Cody's like, we have these forks too. I go, what do you mean? He goes, these are the forks we have at home. I go, oh, cool.
They were identical to our at-home forks.
And he talked about this the rest of the night. The rest of the night.
We're on the shuttle home at 10 p.m. We're still talking about it.
He's talking the whole
somebody
shuttle
else
ride home.
Somebody else brought it up in the shuttle ride home, and I did again comment on the forks.
About forks.
Honestly, nice forks. Great forks. Can't recommend them enough for Tessa.
How many of you, honestly, listening, especially like if it's been years, can actually tell right this second without like texting your wife or anything, the brand and the exact style of fork you use.
I'm just telling you, man, I've had those
dads
forks
out there because that screams progressive dad commercial vibe. Exactly.
I got those forks for our wedding 12 years ago. They've been our fork that entire time, Drew. I'm not supposed to know my own forks?
Yeah.
It just screams.
I get spotted out of a lineup with 200. Part of it is like
so
nobody said
happy.
anything, and I was looking,
He was
and then
so
I was very
happy.
excited. I was like, these are excellent forks. High quality.
You took great joy.
Really, really nice. And then I was trying to convince Alex to get new forks because he said his are a bit flimsy. And I suggested that those
And
might
I said,
also
I don't
be
need
in
to
there.
buy nice forks right now. I don't cook enough, so why would I invest in expensive forks? But you were, man. It became the forks became a running joke around the welcome party. But only you, man. Only you, man.
Someone asked about it at dinner too, because different forks for the dinner the following night.
Same brand,
different catering. Same brand but different fork.
Then
maybe a more classier fork.
The other part, and I'm sure everybody's had this experience at some nice event. Maybe it wasn't you, but someone. So this is now wedding night. This is Thursday evening, 6
Cocktail
o'clock.
hour,
Yeah,
right before dinner.
6 o'clock or so. The ceremony's already happened. Everybody's just having a drink or two, and we're talking to Nick at this moment too.
it's
So then
me,
we're talking
Alex,
about the groom. We're talking to the groom. We're all having a conversation. All of a sudden, you just hear the sound. I wish we had the sound effect. Glass breaking, just right there, and everybody freezes and turns around.
I mean, the entire party.
Everything got dead silent. I mean, I think the band had already stopped playing, but if they didn't,
They
they would have just frozen. The saxophone would have stopped mid-note. Your glass hit the ground, and everybody turns around. Now, his back was facing everybody. I'm facing a majority of the people, and they all just stare. And Cody refuses to turn around.
Well, I couldn't face it at that moment. First, I want to say, as a clumsy person who's broken a lot of things in my life, I wasn't holding my glass at the time. I had set it on the arm of an Adirondack chair next to me. To my assumption, the glass slid due to some
moisture,
some condensation on the outside of the glass, and smashed into a million pieces. I've broken a lot of stuff. I have never stopped 50 people from all conversation. So I just stood there, and I was just like, oh my God.
He refused to turn around, though.
Oh, no.
Everybody's
Because
staring at us.
By the time I did turn around, everyone was still looking in our general direction. It could not help that we were standing by Nick. There's just
they knew
way.
Nick. They knew it wasn't Nick. They sure weren't going to be,
Well, if it was Nick, I got to take the heat. Wedding day, You can't be taking the heat for the other guy. So, or you have to in that case. So it was just like, oh, man, this is the worst.
Was it one of those things that it
The
felt
worst.
Was it one of those things that felt like it took 20 seconds for you to actually turn around?
Dude,
time went.
I might have actually taken. It didn't feel like anything. I might have taken 20 seconds. Immediately breaking chairs.
You could feel everybody staring at you,
man.
couldn't you?
Dude, through the back of my head, you could feel every part of it. Other than that, I will say,
great wedding.
Everything went pretty normal. A couple of people on the shuttle wanted to give Alex a hard time on the way home. We got the last shuttle of the night with some people who were staying at the same hotel.
We were 30 minutes away from the venue. Yeah.
So, in the last shuttle, I started to get a little bit worried it maybe wasn't going to show up because it was like 10:30.
Oh, really?
I was like, this thing ends at 10.
You were there at 10:30?
Is this shuttle coming?
West Coast?
And eventually it did show up. Yeah, at 10:30 local time.
Yeah.
And eventually it did show up. They were on the shuttle ride home. There were a couple people in the back said, "Hey, where's Alex?" And I said, "I don't know." I said he took an earlier shuttle.
I did.
He took a shuttle before, and they were like, "This better come up on the show."
And here we are.
That's exactly what happened. So
and here we are.
We are discussing it.
Yeah.
How early of a shuttle did you take?
By the time we actually got out of it, 9:30.
Okay, so you were like an hour ahead.
Remember,
I'd love to give you a hard time. It didn't seem that
left for
egregious at the time he was getting on it.
The shuttle I got on was full. Plenty of other people were heading back. We were 30 minutes. So by the time I got back to the hotel, it was 10. And we had already left for the wedding at 2. So from 2 to 9:30, I was at this wedding. I left early.
Was this the first shuttle that was available?
It was, yeah. But at this point, after we'd already talked to Nick
got to the wedding at like 2:30.
His wife, Lindsay, and Cody and I and Emma, Cody's wife, we all had plenty. There was nobody. I had already gone into small talk with other people. It was kind of like there was.
You
nobody,
had done the parts of the wedding you were done doing.
And so the shuttle was completely full. And knowing that there was only one other shuttle, and here's why: because if I would have waited, I would have waited for the last shuttle, and I didn't want to wait till 11 o'clock. So
we did a little more dancing and drinking. Then we took the 10:30. I think it is. They just thought, but also this isn't like a Alex is a single guy at the wedding where there's, I'll just say,
everybody was already
with possibilities. Do you know what I'm like?
Everybody
it's not
was
like
already,
let's hang to the end and kind of see where the night goes.
Everybody was coupled up already.
There were 50 people there. Some of them were like aunts and uncles. Most people, I don't know if there was a single person.
There wasn't.
I don't want to say for sure.
No, there wasn't.
Maybe everyone we were hanging out, everyone at the table we were
I
at,
think
was
people were either married or they were in a relationship with somebody. There was not there wasn't because I had somebody else text me after. They're like, "Oh, were there any single bridesmaids?" No, nothing.
No, they were. And
so
there was wedding party was relatively,
It was a great wedding though. Beautiful setting. Seriously, it was gorgeous.
Middle of the forest.
Yeah.
It was a no picture ceremony, so you just have to wait till Nick shares them to see them. But it was very, very, very nice. I will say one thing we didn't talk about: live band, incredible. They did an awesome job. They had the full live band. They had a saxophone player, a couple of guitarists, 2 people who did the singing part of it. Really good. They did a really nice job. I've never been to
Cody liked the
a
forks.
wedding, and I liked the forks.
Most importantly.
Fortessa, branded. I got them from Sur La Table at the time, but I don't know.
From where?
Well, it's like a kitchen store, man.
Oh my goodness.
Sur La
I
Table,
almost bought a kitchen. I almost bought a new kitchen knife when I was out of town. That was almost the souvenir I purchased. I was looking at some nice kitchen knives.
This is progressive dad commercial energy. Totally.
Just geeking out about forks, man. Just geeking out about forks. All right. Up next, let's talk some Royals baseball, the pitching and where it's at compared to a year ago. And while we were gone as well over the weekend, one of our favorite quarterbacks to talk about in the NFL is hanging them up.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Ring the bell! We've done it again! Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
DQ presents How to Hit Summer's Sweet Spot. The new DQ Summer Blizzard Treat menu is here. And as the official treat of MLB, we're swinging big with our fan favorite S'mores Blizzard Treat. Plus, new mixing bowl mashup with brownie batter and chocolate chip cookie dough. And even more in our stacked summer lineup. Hurry in today because nothing says summer like baseball and our new Summer Blizzard Treat menu. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe? No-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m.? Big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas? The ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk. Real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah, yeah. Royals games, announcers, and more Royals games. Did I mention they have the Royals? Stream now.
What's up, KC? This is Matt Quattrero. On your way home from the ballpark, make sure to listen to Vern's postgame show right here on 96.5 The Fan. I will not be listening.
96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get to the trash of the day here in about 20 minutes. We'll also talk about quarterback hanging them up over the weekend here in 10 minutes or so. Thanks for hanging out with us. As we said, good to be back in the saddle. A full week ahead. I can promise you a full week. Well, for both of us. Then Drew is taking his trip later on in the week. So, you know it's that time of the year.
Sometimes the timing just doesn't work out.
It's the off season. You know, this is the time where people go and do some things. So
I will warn you already then Next Monday, I need to leave the show early.
Huh?
My daughter... Next Monday, she has a school event thing. I don't want to miss the whole show.
Okay.
But my daughter has a school event thing where she is a living wax figure, right? So, like, they did all this biographical stuff. She stands there.
Okay.
And so she asked if I would come, and I told her sure. And it's, it's before the show is over, but not so early. I don't have to leave a little bit early, where she is the living wax figure of Beyonce. And I've chosen not to miss that because my 8-year-old daughter dressed up as Beyonce for a living wax museum. I'm going to that. That's a hit. That's a must.
Yeah.
That's a must go.
All right.
So.
Okay.
But other than that, I plan on being here until, I don't know, dance competition.
There you go. Yeah.
In June.
Life happens, man. Life happens.
You ready to, you want to come watch dance for 12 hours in
I
an
did
auditorium?
that for, 16 or 18 years with two sisters, plenty. I got my plenty of dance recital fix in my childhood having to go watch that.
We had the first schedule thing come up. What do you guys think protocol is? Desmond got a birthday party invite for the identical time frame as her dance recital.
Mm-hmm.
So birthday party invite, optional invite. He would probably like to go.
How long is the birthday party?
It's the exact same time frame as the recital. I mean, borderline identical. It's like weirdly close.
One of you goes.
Do you think you split?
One of you does that. Yeah, you have 2 parents.
So you miss a recital? Recitals are kind of like, those are like a once a year thing.
Yeah, but, this is the birthday's once a year, too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's true, I guess. But birthday party's not once a year. He's going to get invited to other birthday parties.
Yeah.
He's been invited to other birthday parties and attended them.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just skip this one? It's not like a friend. It's
Depends
not
how
like
good of a friend
like,
it is, yeah.
It's not his, on again, off again girlfriend
How's that
from
going?
school. Most recently, so they were definitely off for a while. He said that they were just friends. They weren't boyfriend and girlfriend anymore.
Let's remind the audience again. How old is
For
your
the
son?
audience, my son is 6.
Okay, yeah.
And they had he had decided, and then they got in trouble because they had kissed at school. And so there was a whole thing there for a while. But after that, I think because he put it on ice, because he was told they can't kiss at school, she maybe became disinterested. So they had been on a good run. She sent a note home that said, I love you. And it was a picture of them holding hands outside the school. So it seemed like maybe things were heating back up. But he just told me they got into an issue while I was gone. He said he was a little bit sad when we FaceTimed because I said, hey, man, what's going on? And he said that he put his book box next to another girl. Now, again, they're not together. So he owes this other girl nothing. And she said, I'm not kidding, this girl, she said, you're always putting your book box next to this girl. And he tried to explain. He's like, well, it's just there. I'm not thinking about it. This is how he explained it. It's just there. I'm not thinking about it. She said, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear these excuses anymore.
What?
Yo,
what
this
is going on?
He's just in it, dude. He's just in it. They're not together. What's his obligation here? He can't put his book box next to other people?
She said she doesn't want to hear it. I wonder where she heard that from.
I don't know, man.
He's learning a lesson.
That's what I'm saying.
He's learning a lesson that's going to come up again in high school and college. He's learning it now at an early age.
All right, let's talk some Royals baseball because, as we mentioned earlier, they're in a division that looks like for the second straight year it is going to be ultra competitive. It's why the Royals still only have the third best odds to win the division despite the run that they have been on. Even with a series loss to the Red Sox. And the reason why they're in this spot, we all know it. It's because of pitching. If I would have told you before the start of the season that, the pitching is going to be even better, you guys would have said, okay, come on now. If anything, we talked about regression. And it could still happen, but we talked about regression from Lugo. Or could there be regression from other guys in the rotation? Could the bullpen live up to the expectation that they're going to have? And they're currently the second best ERA in baseball, 2.99. It was better than that even 3 days ago. The best ERA in team history was a 3.22 ERA all the way back in the early 70s. So
that's like the Dennis Leonard, like when they had just like pitcher after pitcher in those days.
That is insane that the pitching staff is better than a year ago just because of what we knew and how, frankly, finicky pitching can be year to year. The bullpen we knew was going to be improved, but they're doing this also. I want to point that out on the bullpen end because so much is made about the rotation, and I get it, right? Multiple 7-inning outings and all that.
Yeah, they had 3 straight 7-inning outings that were shutouts. Yeah.
But this bullpen is doing what they're doing without Hunter Harvey still. And I know he's just been a disappointment because
but he was good before.
He was, but he's just been a disappointment because he hasn't stayed healthy. But if they've been able to do it with Irsay and Estevez, and now maybe Steven Cruz maybe could be part of the long-term equation here. John Schreiber has had a very nice season too. Yeah. So they're doing it without Harvey, who you would have thought would have been their third best arm in the pen, fourth best, third best arm in the pen, and he hasn't even been around.
As of less than a week ago, the Royals had gotten 30 innings out of relief pitchers they had called up to the big leagues and not given up a run. So every person they were calling up, didn't matter if it was Sisk or Coleman or Cruz, they weren't giving up earned runs across the board. Right now, ERA-wise, their worst starting pitcher is Cole Reagans. And none of us think Cole Reagans is going to be the problem across the board. He's given up a few more runs here recently. Seth Lugo, back to your point on the innings pitched, leads the major leagues in innings pitched. That's not something I would have assumed he was capable of doing for a second consecutive year. He wasn't a starter a couple of years ago. The biggest difference is the starting pitching is exactly as good as it was last year. They got a couple of guys pitching absolutely nails. They got everyone else pitching really well. There is no dead weight. Everyone's a really good starting pitcher. They got no problems. The one start they needed outside of the rotation, Noah Cameron gave them 7 scoreless or 6 and whatever it was, a 7 2/3 scoreless to go with it. The bullpen is the difference. That's why the pitching's better. They are so much better in the bullpen because as you pointed out, Estevez and Lynch and Urseg and Schreiber, by the way, deserves to be included in this, have essentially been perfect. Cruz still hasn't given up a run. He's pitched as many relief innings as anyone in the bullpen since being called up. He hasn't given up a run. Yeah, and so it's just so deep.
Carlos,
it's just pitcher after pitcher right now.
Carlos has 11 saves. Yeah. Their save leader last year had 18, I think.
Well, I think he's probably going to pass that.
And it's May 12th. So, I mean, it just puts everything in perspective a little bit. But that's why they're in the position they are. We all know it's because of pitching. We'll get back into the bigger picture of the AL Central. And obviously, the issue that is so obvious for all of us, that's offense still. That's the outfield. All that is still true. That hasn't changed. And the name of the game still is, can you continue to win? Can you continue to get great pitching to put yourself in a position where you can go and acquire a piece? Now, I know people are wondering, how aggressive will they be at the deadline? That's going to be a lingering question throughout this entire season.
Yeah, who's the pitcher you're willing to let go from the major league level?
Who are you willing to let go? Is there a payroll cap when it comes to acquiring somebody? Are they already at it? That's why they have chosen not to claim a few guys on waivers that could have been a potential option for the big league club. Maybe they weren't interested in the player. Was there a financial restriction? I'm not sure which one it was, but they have not chosen to go that path. The one outfielder, cash considerations that they traded for, whatever. Nick Gordon's already been removed, DFA or whatever. So that wasn't.
That was so they could get room for Peyton Wilson.
Yeah. So things are going to change, of course, roster construction wise. I think the next 2 to 3 weeks will be really big to watch for Hunter Renfro, quite honestly. And how often is he playing, and what does he do in the lineup when he's in the lineup?
I admittedly missed more of the games at the end of last week. Obviously, that time where I was out of town. Right, Alex and I were gone Tuesday through Friday. Now I paid attention. I watched some box scores. Obviously, we're with people at this wedding.
I saw the White Sox player have a ball go off his head. That was great to see.
Oh, my God.
I got so many texts about that immediately.
Of course you did. It was hilarious.
And I was like, what? I knew something crazy happened. And I wasn't watching the game live, but I was sent the link. And that was the not top 10 play number one last week.
I was finishing packing my suitcase for the trip when I was watching that live. And I had to go back and rewind because my favorite part of the whole thing, even though that guy had the ball at his head, is Maikel Garcia losing it like a little kid. You know that little excitement when you're just like, that's the greatest moment. I'm just he was so excited. That part absolutely killed me. But so I was like, you know what? Haven't cut up on old Hunter Renfro's game long. How are things looking? Bleak, it appears, still. Hitting 167 on the season, 228 on base percentage, 202 slug, and a 431 OPS. Some of these numbers you would just let go if occasionally a ball found a seat. He has 0 home runs on the season, 4 RBI, and just 7 walks. He's probably been one of the worst starters in Major League Baseball this season. So at some point, they're going to have to adjust.
I go to the timeline of Hunter Dozier from a year or so ago, where it was around Memorial Day, May 26th, I think, when they decided. That was for more money, too. We're talking about less money remaining on the deal for Hunter Renfro. Dozier, they ate more money. For Renfro, I think now we're far enough to see. It's maybe I'm off the $5.5, $6 million is what we're talking about, is what they would have to eat.
It's not bad at all. No, they've still got offensive problems, but that's not the point. The point is that they can pitch even better. They can win this way. For the entire season, they can win this way. They scored 4 runs this previous weekend. They won 1 game. They had a chance to win the second. 50-50 game, right? It's 1-1 in the 6th. And then they got their ass kicked in the other. So, you lose 1, you win 1, and you got a chance to win the series in the third. That's because pitching will keep them in every single game and has kept them in every single game to go with it.
We'll get to the trash of the day in 8 minutes or so, but on Saturday morning, we got some breaking news in the NFL at the time, and that was that Derek Carr is retiring at the age of 34. There were reports prior to the draft, a week or so before that, hey, this shoulder injury is pretty serious. He could miss the start of the season. Okay, does this change their draft plan? It really didn't all that much. They drafted a quarterback, the Tyler Shuck kid, who's 26 years old and has had injury after injury. We'll get to the Saints and what their QB room looks like in a second. But Derek Carr, it sounds like based on his statement, he recognized that the shoulder, even after surgery, if he gets rotator cuff surgery, there's a chance he's just not going to be the same player. And why am I going to go through all of this? Because 34 is young in the NFL nowadays at quarterback. There's plenty of quarterbacks that are successful at 38.
Kirk Cousins is 4 or 5 years older than that and still playing. Aaron Rodgers has not committed to a team.
And Derek Carr had not played that good of football the last 2 years since he's been in New Orleans, in fairness. But he hangs it up at 34. And I know he's a guy that got brought up plenty of times on this show throughout his career because he was on the Raiders and it was a rival and all that. And I actually think as more and more people just heard him speak, people became more of a fan of him as a person, as a leader, and you understand why players gravitated toward him. And I know nowadays we judge quarterbacks like, all right, how many rings? And you must suck if you don't have any. But you know how many quarterbacks would sign up for the career that Derek Carr had? He had a really
$200 million.
Really nice career. Financially, he had a very nice career. He also finished third in MVP, and if he didn't get hurt that year, he might have won MVP.
Played 11 years.
But he never did anything in the postseason, right? And so it's kind of similar to Phillip Rivers in that regard. He was, for much of his career, I would say the 10th to 12th best quarterback in football. Probably where Derek Carr was at.
Yeah, when I think of his career, 40,000 yards passing, 257 career touchdowns, almost 170 games started. It's like worse than Phillip Rivers' career. Phillip Rivers was more prestigious, more stats, went deeper into a playoff run, won, I believe, divisions here in Kansas, like Phillip Rivers did. So, he had a better career. Derek Carr, to me, will probably be, in my lifetime, the example of what does average quarterback play look like in the NFL? And the answer is Derek Carr. I would not call it above average. I would not call it below average. I would say he is the poster child of perfectly average NFL quarterback play. So for in his best years, to your point, you finish third in the MVP and you play way outside your skis. In your worst years, you play like the 25th ranked quarterback and it stinks. But year in and year out, man, you are 15. You are 16. You are just
I think he's
the
in that
standard, the average, the norm.
Yeah, I said 10 to 12. Yeah, maybe it's 12 to 15. He's right in that realm.
Yeah.
So many quarterbacks would love to have the career, though, that he had. And not just because of the financial end of it, but that was
do a lot worse than Derek Carr's career.
That was surprising news. Now, what do the Saints do here? Kellen Moore, first time
quarterback room in this.
First time head coach. They need to be willing to truly just wear one the entire season. If you're Kellen Moore, you're in it for the long haul anyway. You're in it for the long haul. So your quarterback room is Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, and then the Jake Haener kid. They claim they're going to have a QB battle. They will probably bring in some random veteran.
I wouldn't.
But they should not just have as a backup. They should not allow that veteran to actually be the starting quarterback, though. They should just go with those three. Whoever wins the job, wins the job. Maybe they find something, this Tyler Shuck kid. If not, you got a top 5 pick, and Arch Manning might be there. And guess whose family loves the Saints organization and made their whole career
Guess what
there.
the last name of a quarterback was the last time they selected a quarterback in the first round?
So
it was Manning, by the way.
It
in
is
the 70s.
all setting up for Kellen Moore in year 2 to have a Manning as his quarterback. This year, just wear one. Your win total was 5 last year. You're probably a 3 to 5 win team this year.
Planning for Manning.
Yes.
I guess, but this is my whole issue with their plan is, did they have any idea before they took Shuck that this was the case? Because if so,
had to have.
I would just say don't take Shuck or draft one higher, right? Just don't take him and really commit to the bit of being the worst, because it was an interesting retirement thing. He conceded some money he would make if he just kept trying to recover from this injury, but they just told him you can keep the 10 mil. Not a bad deal, right? They're just like, we won't make you give us the signing bonus back, but we don't want to be on the hook for the rest of this.
No, they both helped each other out. He gets $10 million. He gets one final $10 million check. They are not on the hook. They get major cap relief, which is what they need. This is, honestly, for Kellen Moore,
best case scenario.
Kellen Moore and Tyler Shuck should have been the happiest people Saturday morning when they found out the news. Kellen Moore because of the long-term aspect, and Tyler Shuck because he has a chance to be the week 1 starter. We just had a convo, guys, 2 weeks ago about, hey, who are the week 1 rookies that could start? We were like Cam Ward, and that was it.
Now Shuck.
And now Tyler Shuck will have a chance, and I'm not saying he's going to be good, but he will have a chance, clearly, to start week 1. But the Saints organization, the problem is they have guys still like Cam Jordan and Tyrann Mathieu and others. They need to trade those players. And during the season, those will be names that will be available. If you're a team that will need a veteran edge rusher or pass rusher, period, Cam Jordan is probably going to be available in the middle of the season. Tyrann Mathieu could be available in the middle of the season. They should tear it all down. Will that organization do it? As much as we're saying they will. They have had chances to do it, guys.
The coaching stuff is where it's really a challenge.
Post Drew Brees, they could have done it. They chose to go trade for Derek Carr, and they thought they were still in it.
Their problem was like post Drew Brees, it was going to be like a 2-3 year teardown because of the way they structured his deal and the way they went all in. So they're like, man, maybe Derek Carr could just help us win a little bit while we wait for the cap stuff to settle. they should cut every player they can that'll save them a nickel next year. Just start rookies. I would make the argument just lose, but you got to pretend like you're trying to win. Pretend like you're trying to win is just starting Rattler or Shuck the entire year. I'm trying.
We already saw plenty of Jake Haener.
You can tell I
don't think it'll be Jake Haener. I think it'll be Shuck week one. Spencer Rattler has a chance, but
it's hard to, because the Arch thing, if they thought that Derek Carr was going to retire and they wanted to lose, then they shouldn't even have drafted Shuck in the first place. And they should have just played Rattler, and you just deal with what you have.
That's it. I would argue
because on the off chance that he actually works at, let's say Shuck looks good enough and he wins you 6 games. You're not getting Arch Manning.
That's
never going to happen.
They can win 6 games, but they could still trade. They could still mortgage multiple picks to go up from 6 to 1. That's not impossible.
My argument,
I just wonder if they fall in love with. If they Shuck could be good enough if surrounded by better players. All of a sudden, it turns into a complete disaster. Or
it depends.
They
what
is
is
drafted shitter this whole time as well.
So, a couple things with that. One, very clearly, there was no way they were ever drafting him at 9. Shedeur Sanders. Sanders went in the 5th round. Clearly, nobody was drafting him in the 1st or 2nd round. If you're saying they should have been more aggressive, then you're asking them to draft Jackson Dart at 9 overall, which would have been a serious overdraft. So, I mean, I guess they did what they had to do in the draft. I just wonder, we need to also see Arch Manning at Texas this year. Is he actually what we think he is? And then remember, he can choose to stay in college. I don't think he will if he has a great year, but he could. If the Saints are the team that might have a chance to draft him, because of his family ties, he might be more willing to leave college after this year because his dad, or his grandfather, I guess would be, was obviously
and
the guy in New Orleans.
There's better quarterback options too. At least again, we always say this
across the board,
it looks
Arch.
better.
The
draft looks better. The quarterback class looks better for this upcoming season, even outside of just Arch Manning.
I can't be sure that this wasn't an off-the-air conversation, but I'm pretty sure I did it for all 32. This is as close as you can get in the NFL to admitting to teams you're trying to lose. When they took Shuck, a 26-year-old quarterback out of college in the 3rd round, knowing Derek Carr's shoulder was in shreds, this is as close as you can do to just outright tanking. Teams don't go lower than what they're doing at quarterback in New Orleans.
You can do it when you have a first-year head coach.
Yep. Just as long as you promised him that he's getting more in a year. Yeah. Because that was always a sucky thing about what happened in Houston. You come down here, you take the job, we're canning your ass anyway. We've put you in a no-win spot with Davis Mills. Now we'll take C.J. Stroud, and you can kick rocks. So if you're Kellen Moore, the only thing you needed in verbal expression was, hey, I'm getting more than this year, right? It's not just how I look with Tyler Shuck, right? You're sticking me out for a few years.
Yeah, I think it's a long haul, I think it's a long haul move for Kellen Moore, and it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out now.
Trash of the day.
All right, trash of the day. This is another TikTok trend. We've had some dumb ones. This one is very much up there. So I guess there is a current trend on TikTok where students are jamming objects like paper clips inside of their Chromebooks, like the Google Chromebooks.
Yeah, the ones they get for school or whatever.
They're jamming paper clips into the USB ports to cause them to smoke or catch fire.
For what?
And now TikTok is blocking searches for the challenge and reminding kids, don't be stupid. But law enforcement and school districts across the country are warning about this TikTok challenge. It poses a major fire hazard. In Arizona, at a middle school there, they were briefly evacuated Thursday after a Chromebook laptop began emitting smoke in a classroom, burning internally. 6 Chromebooks were also vandalized yesterday at a different junior high. None of them caught fire. So this is a weird trend. The Chromebook Challenge targets Google's low-cost laptops since they are widely used in schools and issued to students. And schools, kids are now recording themselves putting pencils, paper clips, scissors into the laptop charging or USB ports. Yeah.
Look, kids will do stupid things. I was a kid. I did stupid things. We've already discussed on the fact that I went and played mailbox baseball a number of times. That was the destruction of other people's property. Why are you destroying your own property? That makes even less sense. That would be like doing mailbox baseball, but hitting your house. I guess maybe I didn't grow up in an era in which
aren't the students' parents going to be responsible for that laptop that the school issued?
I have to sign a waiver the second. The adults and the kids have to sign a waiver at the beginning of the year for the iPads my kid gets. So yes, I'm on the hook as a parent based on this. So you're in big trouble. I come home because you tried to light your Chromebook on fire. I guess what I don't understand.
Someone
this
says
is the
kids are wussies. What happened to putting paper clips on a wall outlet?
Oof. You ever been electrocuted? It sucks.
I have not.
A couple times over the years. I just don't understand the challenges that cause like intentional harm or damage to yourself. Because we talk about these other ones, be like the Tide Pod challenge. I'm like, that's poison.
Yeah.
You're just poisoning yourself.
Or the one dropping heavy objects on your foot.
Oh, yeah, we did talk
which
about
Cody
that
said
one,
he'll
too.
do.
I said for a certain amount of money, I'd do it. You know?
And break your foot. We had a listener come up to us at our draft party and said, yeah, you don't want to do that. And he talked about how he was moving something. Yeah, and he lost his toe because he dropped a very heavy cutting board, I think it was what it was.
Yeah,
Butcher
like a
block
tabletop or something.
whatever.
Yeah. So he cut his toe off. He just sat there and just waited for the ambulance.
So, yeah, don't do that challenge. This is just another one of the dumb TikTok challenges, and apparently this one is in schools across the country right now.
Do you think that you'd get in more trouble nowadays for, like, someone had mentioned that, like, they took their son to TP his mom's house for Mother's Day or whatever. Do you get in trouble for that these days?
TPing someone's house?
Is that still light trouble like it was when we were kids?
I think the rule always has been you TP someone's house you know.
Yeah. And if you get caught, you got to clean it up.
You never TP. At least I didn't. You didn't TP someone's house. You did some random neighbor. You did it somebody you know, or they had already, and it becomes like a back and forth thing. You don't just do it to somebody that you don't know. So I think as long as it's that, I don't know if people still do that anyway.
That's crazy. They just light Chromebooks on fire instead?
Yeah.
There's way more innocent ways to have fun.
There was a challenge last week that I mentioned for Trash of the Day, the Kool-Aid Man Challenge. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
What is this?
Kids are running through people's fences and then running away.
Like through their wood fence and then running away?
Oh, yeah. They're destroying their fence
again,
and then
destruction of
away.
property. Again, what are we doing?
That's a way more fun trend than the Chromebook one, I'll say. It's somebody else's property.
Fence is not cheap to repair, man, depending on the fence.
It's someone who's had to repair his fence twice since I've lived there.
Wow.
Not cheap at all.
That is the trash.
I'm going to have someone come look at my mini decks this week,
The mini decks.
It's starting to need a little bit of repair. It's time to take a look,
All right. Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. Good news while I was gone. I got nervous when I saw this name come across the ticker in my text messages, and then I found out I could take a deep breath. I'll explain what I'm talking about next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
My name is John Clay Wolf. I'm the founder of GiveMeTheVin.com. Every month, for the next 10 months, everyone that sells us their car to GiveMeTheVin.com will get put in a drawing for a $25,000 winner. We're going to pull one of you out of a hat, and somebody's going to win $25,000. So we're paying more, and you might win $25,000. GiveMeTheVin.com. They don't call us America's Best Car Buyer for nothing.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. Come in today for incredible anniversary savings across the store. You'll find some of the hottest prices of the year, now through May 20th only. From fresh produce to family favorites, don't miss the unbeatable prices at every Cosentino's location. For 77 years, it's been our family's honor to serve yours, and we're just getting started.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at PowellCasey.com.
The NBA semifinals are here, and that means all the show-stopping action continues and even gets turned up a notch. Don't miss your chance to bet on all the legendary moments with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Want to see if that guy's hitting his over consistently, or maybe they've been flirting with a potential triple-double. Get the latest stats right inside the FanDuel app. And once the game starts, that's when things really get interesting. You can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. When you place your first $5 wager, all you need to do is visit FanDuel.com, use my promo code KFNZ to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with nominal drawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after street restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get up with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit KansasGamblingHelp.com.
Has your home been on the market without success? An expired listing can feel
frustrating, but it doesn't have to be the end of your journey. The Sharp Homes team specializes in turning things around. The Sharp Homes team can give you options. Do you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold? Contact them to discuss their instant offer program. In fact, contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. You can Google them at Sharp Homes Team or visit them at homesforsaleInKC.com and start packing. Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? Call Jay Southland Tow Service, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments. They can do it all. Be in the know and call Jay's Southland Tow.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The peace lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates, so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
At Napa, we've spent the last 100 years building our business into an engine that powers yours. Whether you're big or small, national or local, Napa has the automotive solutions your business needs to stay moving. And it's all driven by a nationwide network of quality parts and exceptional service on one mission: to keep your business moving full speed ahead. That's why we are the pros that know.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Almost Andy Reid here. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and Renner Garage Door is giving back. 5% of sales go to Authentic Life Foundation, and you get 5% off your project. Visit rennerdoor.com.
RENNER, RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. It is good to be back on the air talking some Chiefs football with you guys. We'll get back into our trip last week and the wedding, including what happened on the flight coming up in the noon hour as well. But
I gotta ask with the self-bartending person. I gotta ask questions. I got questions about that too.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that. You had a very. I'll get to it later. Cody likes talking to bartenders because he used to work in the industry. I'll just leave it at that.
Very much so.
We'll get it.
I wouldn't even talk about that bartending thing.
Yeah.
I was talking about the person doing it.
We'll get there.
I was very chatty with
You're mesmerized about forks, and now you're talking to
the Wednesday night the opening, the welcome party bartender. I was very friendly with. But also, I didn't know anybody at the wedding. I mean, these people were nice enough. I was just asking them questions.
So we'll get there. But I was very happy when something sports-wise happened while we were gone. You guys know, I've said multiple times, there is a certain player, I'll admit, very, very talented. Very talented. I have no interest on becoming a member of the Chiefs. And then I got a text. I got an alert as well. And all I could see, because it was a quick glance down, all I could see was George Pickens traded. I was like, oh, boy.
And you're like,
oh, no.
And because we've talked about trading him.
I was like, oh, no.
On
and also,
this show,
like, don't do this while we're gone. Don't trade for him anyway. George Pickens, of course, was traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a third-round pick.
And you thought,
I am very happy. I'm very happy because he's a hell of a football player. But let me lay out this scenario. We can all see what's coming. The Cowboys now have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. That's a really, really good wide receiver 1-2 punch. They also upgraded their backfield. I got questions about their O-line. Dak Prescott, like their offense, they're going to open up the season, by the way, against the Eagles on Thursday night. They got weapons on offense. All that's true. But if Mike Tomlin wasn't able to stop the pouting, George Pickens showed up 90 minutes before the Chiefs-Steelers game. He was taking plays off. He was taking helmets off his own teammates. All of that. If Mike Tomlin couldn't control that, I'm sure, guys, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure that Brian Schottenheimer, first-year head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, is going to be able to take control of that. And the good news is the Dallas Cowboys with George Pickens, they don't have an owner that likes to talk every time after a game and will respond to when reporters ask about George Pickens. No, they don't have that either. So I'm sure it's going to go swimmingly for the first 3 weeks or so. And then I'm sure it won't be a problem in a month or two into the season when they're not winning and when he's not getting the ball and when everything's going bad for first-year head coach Brian Schottenheimer. So good luck, Dallas. Props to the Steelers for making that trade. Got a third-round pick for him.
So that was actually more compensation than I was anticipating. So that would have been part of my hesitation, right, if I were the Chiefs and the same thing were on the table. I would have had that hesitation gold as a result of that, certainly. My whole thing with Pickens was that it'll work here because Andy Reid won't let it go bad.
Mike Tomlin
didn't let it derail them, right? They were still a winning team. They had quarterback issues. He didn't let it derail them. Now, it was rocky. Kind of in a way, it was rocky with like Marcus Peters or Tyreek Hill in Kansas City at the time. Now, Tyreek Hill was never on the field. But or very.
So you're banking on, and Cowboys are, you're banking on that, like, well, he's got Dak Prescott now, so he won't be upset.
Nah, man, the coach is a problem. This ain't gonna work.
That's what I'm saying. Brian Schottenheimer, first-year head coach.
I was saying, like, a huge part is like, this ain't gonna work. This is not going to work because it's it's honestly maybe the worst place he could go. Like, Dallas is already in a mess.
Very Dallas.
They've already got like an owner that I don't know that they know anything is going on. They plucked a coach off the street because they fired the other guy and they couldn't find anyone else to take the job. Dak's coming off an injury again. Like, I got to be honest, man. That might be the last team I think he should have ended up on. Other than like the teams that are like the Jets, I guess maybe would have been worse.
Idiot things can turn into good decisions.
Like, I mean, that's
what they're hoping for. That's what they're hoping for, you know?
You think I'm an idiot?
But you were relieved, weren't you?
Do you?
I wanted Pickens from the beginning. I think he's a really talented player.
The different conversation, if you're just saying like, hey, they should have drafted him, I'll listen to that more because ultimately the Steelers got a couple years and they got a third-round pick back and the Chiefs drafted Sky Moore. So for sure, I'm with you. Now, I've told you I hate playing this guy got drafted 5 picks before, whatever could have had. We can do that all day long with every draft pick in NFL history. But yes, clearly the Sky Moore pick versus Pickens, obviously they should have had Pickens.
Go back in time,
yes, because you also got a third-round pick now back for him. But in terms of the player and the Chiefs' interest, I'm so glad they didn't trade for him, Cody. If this next year he becomes a free agent, I have no interest in George Pickens.
The one part about it different now versus when we were discussing this was before the draft, is right now, the Chiefs don't really need a wide receiver. I'm not trying to just be like oversimplified. They don't need another wide receiver that comes with baggage. They're in a good spot. Still have Travis Kelce, still have Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. They just drafted another guy in Royals. They brought Hollywood Brown back. As it sits right now, when I see the headline George Pickens traded, my initial thought was not, or were the Chiefs involved? My initial thought, or should the Chiefs have been involved? We do that on trade stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Would you have made the same deal? For a third-round pick next year, would I have traded for George Pickens? And the answer, surprisingly, probably to you is no. At the moment, I wouldn't have because they don't need that right now. I like where their wide receiver unit is, and if I'm going to take on the headache, I need either a stronger need for the player itself or a lower price tag.
He's also in the final.
He's also third round. I kind of thought it was going to be less.
I am just because it's he's in his final year.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is not a guy that has 2 years remaining on his rookie deal. If he plays well and it's not a problem, you're going to have to pay him. if he stinks, then you gave him a third-round pick. If he's had a headache and he stinks, you give him a third-round pick, and he's gone as well. So it's a one-year thing here for him in Dallas. You always wonder, is this the wake-up call? But I'll say everything that George Pickens has done in the NFL is exactly what people said. Very talented, but a head case. Yeah. He's been both. He's been both.
Yeah.
The scouting report was spot on for George Pickens.
Yeah, every once in a while they're off. They'd be like, I don't know if this guy's got the talent to run routes and whatever across the board. Pickens, the talent has never been the argument. The question is, how long does he last in the league? And also, there's an amount of production you will take on the talent. So a 900-yard season, which is what he had last year for Pittsburgh with absolutely zero quarterback play. Not bad. Perfectly fine with that. But you're not going to take on, how much money are you going to pay him? How long are you going to take on that headache? By the time George Pickens' career is over, I bet he ends up playing with 5 or 6 NFL teams.
Yes, probably.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think it'll be 2 by the end of this, and by the end of next year, after he's done in Dallas, they won't give him another contract, and it'll be another team. So he'll already have 3 under his belt by the age of 24, 25 years old. And he'll always be productive enough to end up on a roster, be near a team, do all those things, because these are better than Hollywood Brown numbers, right? And he's always had interested parties trying to sign him, but he's just a headache.
I don't know if Stephon Diggs is a fair comparison, but he's kind of turned into that now where Stephon Diggs is bouncing around to different places.
Yeah, call me crazy because I know where Diggs is at now, but I think Stephon Diggs is still, at that time, was a better football player.
Oh, no, I
know. Stephon Diggs was having 1,400-yard seasons, wasn't he?
Which is
for
why
the first couple.
Pickens' best season is 1,104.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a good comp or not, but just in terms of bouncing around teams now,
I will say Pickens' quarterback play has been pretty bad. So,
in fairness, yes.
Allen Robinson, but here's the thing. This is where you don't know which way it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So there are plenty of wide receivers like Wes Welker spent the early years of his career in Miami with Cleo Lemon throwing him the ball. He got to New England and was a really, really, really super productive receiver immediately because it turns out having Tom Brady was better than having quarterbacks whose names you don't remember. Allen Robinson was going through that in Chicago and a couple of other spots, and he was having these 1,000, 1,100-yard seasons. And what you don't know, and this is what we don't know about Pickens is, were you getting that because there was no one else to throw it to in a limited offense, and it was just happening by need? Or are you a star who would get 1,500 yards if you were actually with the right damn team?
Well, he's a number 2. I mean, he's got CeeDee Lamb with him, so he's the number 2 receiver in Dallas. He's not going to be the guy getting the most targets on the team there.
And who's to say that's not going to become a problem? Where George Pickens is like, hey, man, you got to throw me the ball more. It's like, excuse me, but because CeeDee Lamb, I think at some point last year was getting 15 targets a game.
Yeah, there was no one else to throw to. But that was also a huge problem with their offense. They also had no quarterback play because Dak got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Or
in a running game.
CeeDee Lamb had 101 catches for almost 1,200 yards last year.
That's. I mean, he led the league in catch. He had 135 for 1,750 the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, he's definitively number 2. But that's also the thing. I think a lot of people look at the talent of George Pickens and they say, get that man a quarterback in a functional organization. He could be a 1,400-yard wide receiver.
Yeah, that's what the Cowboys
But
are
I'm just saying, just as often it goes the other way. And what it turns out is when there's another mouth to feed who's better than your ass, you start going down to be the 750 guy, the 700 guy. Your numbers backslide more often, I think, than you take the step up to the competition.
Yeah, Jerry thought he found something, though, so we'll see.
Smiles and glory holes.
Well, they're hoping. There
weren't a lot of wide receivers in the draft. That's the other
They need to do more than hope in Dallas at this point with that head coach. I mean, they still
Brian
have a running back.
Schottenheimer. No, I actually think the running back room is much better than a year ago. I really do. So they have Javonte Williams, the Broncos running back. He's got injury concerns, but they do have him. And then Jaden Blue and Miles Sanders. I actually think the running back group is fine for what they want to do.
Better. It's not great, but it's better.
Yeah.
They'll probably end up with Nick Chubb,
If
too.
Javonte Williams stays healthy, then yeah.
Yeah, Javonte Williams' health is the big question mark for sure. But Dallas, good luck. Good luck. I'm sure it'll look. Week one, George Pickens going to go out there against the Eagles and have a $130 and a touchdown. I'm not even saying he won't. It's week 7 when they're below 500, and he goes 1 week without the football, and he shows up late to practice, and he shows up to the game late. By the way, these are all things that have happened already in his career. That's when it's a problem.
I know we're getting ready to talk schedule as it relates to the Chiefs, just real quickly, since we're already getting ready to talk schedule anyway. Eagles. Cowboys do anything for you?
I mean, the
opening night, first game of the season.
Any game does it for me on that Thursday night.
I know, but it does feel a little bit like I'm sick of the Cowboys
Another
getting
division game.
You know, enough of the Cowboys. Quit sticking them all these primetime games. They've been an uninteresting team for years.
I would argue that for this Thursday night game to open up the season, we all know this is the argument for not putting a good matchup on the Thursday one because everybody's watching. We're all football starved at that point in time. And what we just discussed, actually, the Cowboys are very intriguing in week 1. By week 12, I may not give a damn about them. Week 1.
Week 1, interesting. Week 12, you might lose a little steam on them.
That's right.
They opened already as I think 5.5 or 6.5 point underdog.
This game is in Philly, of course, right?
Yeah, they're going to have their whole ceremony, unfortunately, at the Super Bowl that didn't happen, and all that. Yeah,
I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
Anybody remember Super Bowl played
I
last?
don't. By halftime, I think something happened after. I'm not sure.
Honestly, it hurt a lot worse if the Chiefs didn't have 3 in the last
For sure.
6 years. It'd be a tougher pill to swallow if your team hadn't also been winning Super Bowls during that time. I just didn't know if Cowboys Eagles still brought.
I mean, for an opening game, the ratings are going to be massive.
Friday.
Ratings will be massive for that game. You know that.
So we'll get a division game to open the season. On Friday, we'll get a division game in Brazil. Chiefs Chargers to go with it. Look, this schedule part, and I guess this is I'm curious to see where the NFL takes it. They have, for the longest time, found ways to protect certain games. They've always been a little more confident or protective of division games, especially because division games are worth more. That they count the same in the record, but they are worth more, inarguably worth more. Until they change the playoff rule that we've talked about, where it's just based on record and it's not based on division. Winning your division counts for something major in the NFL still. So to put a division game on the run, we talked about this Brazil one because I told you I thought the Chargers could end up playing the Chiefs in it, and then they ended up doing it. It kind of sucks, but also like the Chargers game. Look, it's such a joke of a road stadium anyway. I'm having a hard time getting too worked up.
So I understand that basically Arrowhead West is not only in Vegas, but it's also in LA when they go and play the Chargers. That is all true. I just fundamentally disagree with international games being divisional matchups. Typically, they have not been. There have been other cases, but typically they have not been. I know they're going to keep playing international games. It's not going away. It's only going to increase. Pretty soon, everybody's going to play 1 or 2 international games a season. That's where the league is trending. There's a huge financial opportunity. I get it. We all recognize that. But I do not think divisional games, because of what those mean for your chances of making the playoffs and obviously what a divisional title means and all that, those games should not be international. Thank goodness it's a road game, not a home game, because, oh, my gosh, I would be livid if I actually knew any Chargers fans that existed. I would be livid. But they can get by with it because it's the Chargers. Mm-hmm. So I just fundamentally don't like it. I also just think like Sao Paulo, Brazil doesn't have the same ring to it as playing in Frankfurt, Germany, or Madrid, Spain, or in Ireland or something like that. But that's just more of a personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm not too hung up on like that part.
But Friday night, look, are we all going to be watching? Of course. Friday night. And by the way, it's not official yet for those one, but multiple reports now say the Chiefs are going to open up in Brazil.
We'll get the official schedule on Wednesday night.
Yep.
Some of those games will be officially announced over the next couple of days, as some already have. Like I mentioned, the Cowboys-Eagles one is official. That is the first game of the NFL schedule.
They better have that field right in Brazil. Last year, that Packers-Eagles game, the field was crappy. People were slipping everywhere. They also were warning people not to wear green and all. The whole thing was a mess. Why are they going back to Sao Paulo, Brazil?
Do you want to know what my biggest issue with it is? I don't know. Because it went off, without too much
trouble.
From a
scheduling standpoint, it could be way worse.
And they're trying to put themselves everywhere. South America, Australia,
time zone-wise, it's not terrible for the Chiefs in terms of travel. It's also week 1, so they can get there whatever they want, and then they have more time for the week 2 game, which hopefully is a home game in week 2. In fact, I would guess it's a home game in week 2. Could be wrong. I would doubt they have to go on the road to Brazil and then go on the road the next week. That'd be kind of crappy. I'm hoping week 2 means it's a home game.
But that's inevitably my single biggest issue with this, is that for as much as we claim the NFL is an equal sport, as in, hey, we allow the worst teams to get the best draft picks. We're really good about bad teams can be good in a hurry, and it's the great equalizer and all these other things. The Chiefs got hit in the knee with a sledgehammer with the schedule last year. Early buys, multiple international games, short turnarounds, 3 games in 11 days, playing on Christmas, they got beat to death. And I don't know any of the Chiefs' schedule right now, except for one game, which will be the Friday of the second game of the season. And it already sucks. The schedule's already, they're playing on a Friday. There's very few games on a Friday anyway. They have to travel internationally, which means they could have to play 2 international games this year, because this one won't count because it's the first week of the season, Gold. It's in the exempt non-counting type of international game, I think, according to the NFL. So they could have to still face 2 international games, have to take an additional or a divisional opponent on the road, So it's already off to a rough start is all I'm saying. And for a team that already has to get the batter of the worst part of the schedule because they're a good team, so they got to play more nights, more days of the week.
Well, that bye week better be late
like,
this year. That bye week better be late this year if that's the case. I don't actually, you and I differ a little. I don't think the scheduling week one is my problem. Like, I actually think if you're going to have one, that's the week to have it.
Sure.
And
what
actually,
if they have two?
I would be surprised. I mean, other than the Jags, I don't think any team has had 2 international games yet. It'd be the second time in NFL history if that happens. So I don't think. I think they probably won't have that other one until 2026.
So you're saying if you're going to have an international one, do it.
Get out of the way week one and be done with it. Then you have more time in week 2 to get ready for your next opponent. But the schedule stuff every year just gets bigger and bigger in terms of the way they do this. Today NBC announced that week 17 they're going to have a Peacock-only Saturday night game.
Chiefs will be on that, I'm sure.
Maybe there's a chance.
Anybody want to take a bet?
Well, is that
5-1 at worst? I would say
there's definitely a chance. There's definitely a chance that ends up being where the Chiefs end up. So tomorrow, I think Fox or Amazon. There's a whole schedule of the schedule release, schedule announcements.
The Chiefs game, if they do end up facing the Chargers, which we all think they will officially, it's on YouTube, not YouTube TV, right?
YouTube is reportedly who this Friday deal is going to be with.
So who have they missed games by? They've been on YouTube. They've been on
Apple.
They've been on
Apple's
They've been on Peacock. They've been on any of the major networks, ESPN.
We're down to
what are they down to? Just Apple.
We're down to Apple and Max. That's about it. Apple and Max and Paramount.
Pluto.
They're already on Paramount.
Pluto TV. I mean, like they don't have that many. They don't have that many windows of time left, and they don't have that many networks left to appear on.
Yeah.
At this point, they've been on Nickelodeon.
They're going to maximize, and that's part of Paramount, I think, or whatever.
Yeah.
But like in CBS or whatever it is, but or Viacom, I don't know. They're all connected, but yeah, it's
Fubo TV or whatever the other.
Well, that's just that's not even. That's just like it's. That's no different than YouTube TV. Like that's a distributor more than it is like a network, Fubo or whatever.
Yeah,
it
they
is.
don't like own their own streaming shows necessarily.
But for the local team, again, before everybody freaks out, if no matter what network the game is, remember if you're in the local KC market, they will make it accessible. You'll be able to one of the local affiliates. You'll be able to get it over the air.
So it stinks. I'll say it stinks for fans that are just outside that window, but that's less, right? We understand. Like if you you've been watching the game in Denver, and because the Chiefs are a great team, they are almost always on your TV at the time because they play all these primetime games. They're almost always available to you. So like you, the person outside of the market, might have to do that. This is the only thing that I would like bury the NFL. Like this, I don't love the way they do the TV stuff now. I think a lot of it's for a buck. There's times in which, it's all for. Yeah. But if they ever end the local people still get it locally part, that's the only thing that separates them from all the sports that everyone wants to bitch about when it comes to TV. That's what separates them from the Royals or Major League Baseball or NHL or NBA is that local teams can still be watched locally over the air without an additional cost. The second they get rid of that is when I think they really start to make people mad.
Yeah, 913-586-7965. Someone says, hear me out. International week, everyone plays out of town week one.
Someone pitch this before
I think that's where you take away a preseason game out of bye week. This has been discussed before that you do it. I don't know if I would like it in week one. My argument against week one is the same issue I had with baseball, having their first game of the year at 3 a.m. It would have to mean the time zone works out, and I still think your first game of the year should be on U.S. soil. That's just me being me on the NFL front. It's to me bizarre to open up a season internationally, so I hope that's not what they would do in the future. At least this go around. That Thursday game is opening up in Philadelphia, the home of the team that just won the Super Bowl.
It would be one of those things where you wouldn't have all of them play, obviously, because then everybody would have a bye week the following week. You would take half the league and play them on a week that the rest of the league has a bye, and then you just flip it the following week.
Somebody said it would come
back-to-back weeks.
I don't remember. I'd love to give him credit.
I think it was Nick Wright, actually.
Okay. I was like, some national radio host has suggested this as it comes with an 18-game schedule. I just tell you, that's, again, not how the NFL will do it, because that is a fan-based enjoyment versus a individual-based. They don't want to squeeze the international games in 2 weeks. They want to force-feed them to you for 18 weeks. Mm-hmm. They don't want to just get 2 weeks worth of juice out of it, man. They want your ass up at 8:30 in the morning watching the Jags in London in week 4, and then they want you in week 8 watching the Chiefs in Germany, and then in week 13. They don't want only 2 weeks worth of juice out of it. They want you watching the NFL every week in perpetuity in different time slots forever.
In fairness, though, isn't that a way to like celebrate like how you have rivalry week or how you have something else?
Like I get it. You're saying like
I think there's a way for people collectively here in the States.
Nation stuff only works if it's a battle of nations.
This is International Week. Like we're going to get up for International Week. Like it's it becomes a thing.
I'm fine with that. I just don't want a week one. I'm not anti that idea if they did it in October or November or something like that. To me, it's something you do in the month of October or whatever, and you get the international games in that way. Something about week one, the same issue I had, mainly it was a time zone thing for baseball, but the same issue I had with them having the Dodgers play overseas and nobody knew the game was happening. If you're the NFL, look, they will do a better job marketing it, and the NFL is king, so we won't not know what's going on. But those games for week one, when everybody's excited for the NFL kickoff, to me, those cannot be international games. And I don't even like that the Chiefs one on Friday night is international. I think that first week they should all be home games, but that battle is long gone.
Yeah. I agree too. The cat's out of the bag on that one, Gold.
Yeah.
Where there's just not a lot of like putting that back in. Again, just as long as they keep 4 local audiences local, I do think that people will mostly kind of keep quiet about it. Like, I don't think anybody will complain because you and I still watch. I'll watch that same one on.
Of course.
I watch all
the first
Chiefs games on rabbit ears.
Well,
I still watch them on an antenna.
Yeah, I mean, and deep down, no matter whatever complaints you have about the opening kickoff game, whether it's the Chiefs on Friday night or with the actual opening kickoff game with the Eagles, by the time we get to September, like whether it's your betting, fantasy football, whether it's just your passion for the league, whatever, like NFL, the rookies that are going to be playing, like, I cannot wait. We'll be ready for it. We'll be sick of training camp, and we'll be ready for the start of the season, no matter what even though people will bitch and moan about the Sunday night football game is not as good as they think it should be, whatever, right? I wouldn't surprise me if Jaden Daniels is on Sunday night football, honestly. You heard it here first.
Yeah. You think that's what it's going to be?
Kim Anders will open up on Sunday night football, is my guess, or Monday night.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. They're one of the most interesting teams going into the year, and they have a young star-ish quarterback.
All right, up next, guys, we'll get to what's trending, get you caught up with what's going on, and then we get back in to this American League Central for a second year in a row. Looks like it's going to be very, very competitive.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
If you're looking for that new career path, have you thought about IT? Think about IT. It's needed in every single industry, whether it's sports, healthcare, construction, manufacturing, you name it, and Centric can help you get there.
No better time in the city either. KC Tech Council has 3,000 IT jobs open in March alone. 3,000. Centric can train you to do one of those jobs.
We've told you about our friend Russ Mondry and his expertise in this field. Over 16 years at Centric. He's going to help you find that career path. So go to Centric.com.
Men, here's the truth. In the bedroom, good enough isn't really good enough, is it? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if your erectile dysfunction is making intimacy less enjoyable for you and your partner, give us a call today. Because whether your ED only happens sometimes or all the time, it's time to stop good enough and time to start really good. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. Whether it's only mild or moderate, or even if it's severe, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we have a variety of treatments and can even combine protocols, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in a long time. You could even last up to an hour or more and make sex great again for you and your partner. So make an appointment and be done with good enough. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
BetMGM is making your next golf tournament winner bets more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite golfer to win a tournament only to see them miss the green? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your tournament winner bet finishes in second instead. That's right. Simply bet on any player to win a scheduled golf tournament during a promotional week. If you're right, you win. But if your pick finishes in second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Watch your favorite players go for the win all season long and bet knowing you'll get your stake back if they finish second. Log in today and make your picks with confidence with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss these upcoming shows. Get tickets and info at livenation.com. Daniel Tosh, Tuesday, June 17th at Kansas City Music Hall. Chicago, Saturday, June 28th at Starlight. Live and Collective Soul. Wednesday, July 16th at Starlight. Party. Thursday, August 14th at T-Mobile Center and Goo Goo Dolls. Friday, August 22nd at Starlight.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
Step up to the plate and hit a home run with Casey's Best Airport Parking. Park and go. No errors here. All spots are covered, so your car's safe from the rain, hail, and blazing heat. Plus, their MVP shuttle service picks you up right at your car and takes you straight to the terminal. No extra innings required. Great service, low price, zero hassle, open 24/7. And remember to join their frequent Parker program so you can earn points towards free parking. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
At Napa, we've spent the last 100 years building our business into an engine that powers yours. Whether you're big or small, national or local, Napa has the automotive solutions your business needs to stay moving. And it's all driven by a nationwide network of quality parts and exceptional service on one mission: to keep your business moving full speed ahead. That's why we are the pros that know.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah, yeah. Royals games, announcers, and more Royals games. Did I mention they have the Royals? Stream now.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all the shows from your phone, desktop, or tablet. Your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Well, the Royals did lose 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox over the weekend. Prior to that series, they had won 16 of 18. They still have the second best team ERA in all of baseball, just under 3 at 2.99. They're in Houston tonight, taking on those Astros. 7:10 first pitch. Vern's On Deck show right here on 96.5. The Fan begins at 6 o'clock. It'll be Michael Wacha getting the nod. The 24-18 Royals going up against the 20-19 Houston Astros.
Next up on What's Trending, the NFL schedule release. Coming out, a couple of news. Cowboys at Eagles will be the NFL kickoff game. Peacock will be the exclusive national home of an NFL Week 17 game in prime time. They're calling the holiday exclusive.
Ooh, fancy.
Ooh, there'll be bells and all the normal stuff. It'll be selected from a pool of key NFL Week 17 Saturday matchups to go in there as well. So, like, all the best teams, the Chiefs, will go in there. So a couple things starting to leak out. Keep an eye out on that as those continue to go. But, yeah, the NFL full schedule release is Wednesday night, but we're starting to get some of those official leaks, as in, like, intentionally put out schedule parts for each team.
The NBA playoffs, of course, continuing yesterday. We got a tie series between the Nuggets and the Thunder after the Thunder pulled out a 92-87 win against Denver. The Pacers, Drew's happy about this. They now have a 3-1 lead on the Cavs after a 129-109 win. So tonight, we got 2 games. The Knicks and Celtics. This has been the fun series in terms of everything. Obviously, the Celtics had a win over the weekend. They did. The Knicks are still up 2-1. This game's still at the Garden tonight. And then the late game this evening, Minnesota's got a 2-1 lead on the Warriors, who, remember, are still without Steph Curry. That one doesn't start till after 9 o'clock.
The Knicks series, it's like, did you see what the price tag was for that Garden one where they thought they were going to go 3-up on Boston? People are spending.
That was so predictable, by the way.
Mortgages.
Boston blowing them out was so predictable. One, because Boston had double-digit leads in the first 2, and then they choked. And typically that Game 3, the same way the Cavs beat the Pacers in the Game 3, typically it's like do or die. Like, for whatever reason, usually if you're down 2-0, if you're down 2-0 and you were the better team all year, usually you win Game 3. And if you go down 3-0, you lose the series 85% of the time. So
you probably or more, maybe. A lot.
Yeah.
Next up on What's Trending, speaking of the NBA, Shams reporting that Giannis is officially open to a trade for the first time in his NBA career after an early exit for the Bucks. This was expected by most, I think, fans of the Bucks to go with it. This is what happens in the NBA. You go a few years without any kind of reliability, you start looking around. Of course, one of the leading teams that people already speculate with Giannis is the Lakers. Who knew?
He was already getting photoshopped into Lakers jerseys after he got bounced.
Yep.
And after the Lakers got
very
bounced,
predictable. Too. We'll see how it plays out. It'll be the story of the NBA offseason once the postseason and the 2025 season comes to an end. Elsewhere, soccer over the weekend. KC Curran on Mother's Day got back to their winning ways after losing 2 in a row. They got a 4-1 victory at home. Sporting Kansas City over the weekend, lost to Portland 1-0. So split decision on the two locals on the soccer front.
Casey Kerr was on a 2-game losing streak, so good to see them back to their winning ways.
Second best team in the league this week. Let's be in Orlando later on.
Okay, well, that'll be Orlando really later on, but this will be a really good matchup coming up this week. Next up on What's Trending, Michael Jordan has officially been announced as a contributor for NBC for the upcoming playoffs that'll take place on NBC for the first time.
Or just the regular next year's season.
Sorry, regular season. Yeah. Sorry, my bad. For the next year's regular season, which is not surprising, but also be the first time the NBA's been on NBC in a long time. You have to remember, Jordan played on NBC for every single one of his playoff runs. What do we think? Studio show guy, Charles Barkley?
It's got to be studio.
How much did they pay? How much did they pay him? Has anyone announced that yet?
No. I mean, so they signed an 11-year broadcast deal with NBC, did the NBA. It says special contributor. With his schedule and stuff, there's no way he's going to be on a regular.
On a court doing like a one-on-one interview.
I mean,
it could be interviews. It could be interview features.
Yeah, it could be feature pieces. I wonder how often you'll see him in studio. Now, maybe the first game ever back on NBC, maybe. But I don't know. I mean, could it be like you guys have watched TNT hockey a little bit? So Gretzky sometimes he's not on every night.
Correct.
But Gretzky's on there occasionally.
Yep.
That might even be more than what I think. That's more than what even Michael Jordan's willing to do.
I guess, I see what Tom Brady made, and I'm like, what the hell did they have to pay Michael Jordan?
Well, he's not getting the same amount of money.
Not that amount, but is it $100 million?
Over 11 years, it might be. Not like over 11 years, it could be.
That's what I mean. Is it 100, 200 million? How much are they offering the man?
My guess is he signed a 1-year deal. I doubt he agreed to do this for 5 years or something. It's probably a 1-year deal, and they're paying him a couple mil.
I was thinking about it over the break, and maybe this isn't necessarily a knock against LeBron. It'll probably turn into that, but the fact that Michael Jordan is going to be on a show talking about basketball, I think, is a huge deal. Because he's been gone for so long from the game and detached from it in a analytical sense in terms of being in evaluating talent and all that other stuff. It'll be really cool. Or if he is in studio for even a few games, hearing him talk about the games that are happening is going to be pretty awesome.
It is, because we just haven't seen that before. It's just going to be very, very unique.
It just feels different because it's MJ talking about, it's just going to be really cool.
All the interviews and stuff we've heard is always him talking about himself. We've never heard him try to talk about players right now for the most part.
That are playing in a different era versus him and everything else. And we all know how seriously he takes the high level of competition that he brings. So I'm very curious.
Is super cool, and that is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Of course, it is a Monday. It's the lunch hour, and of course, that means 30 Hop on Mondays. $5.99 classic burgers. 30 Hop, your new go-to, an American bar and kitchen with bold flavors, local taps. They got expansive patios and an unbeatable happy hour. Of course, they have their location in Lee Summit, and over the last week or two, they opened up their location in Merriam, right down the street from us at Grand Station. They're a proud lunch partner here on Cody and Gold. You can stop in for lunch, stay for happy hour. Again, don't forget $5.99 classic burgers on Monday. Local beer, American Eats, big patio. Our friends over at 30 Hop.
You went over there the other day.
I was there.
Had some lunch on the patio.
Yeah, I guess it's been a week and a half or so. I actually went the day after their grand opening. Went out there. It's a great. The whole.
So you got the
venue is
yakisoba
awesome.
noodles again.
Went back to that, man.
Menu's very big, I will say. Lots of different options available to you. Beer menu's really big, so you want to check them out. 30 Hop, obviously our Monday lunch partner here on Cody and Gold.
So the American League Central, I want to talk about for a bit, because heading into last season, the thought was, well, this division's not great. If you can just get to 86 wins, you probably win. 87 wins, you probably win the division. And last year, we all know, 3 teams came out of this division and made the playoffs. Then you go into this year, okay, the expectation, the bar has been raised for the Royals to go and win the Central. And we figured that the Tigers and the Guardians would be in the mix.
Between 88 and 90 wins is honestly what I would have predicted.
Here in the middle of May, soon to be in the middle of May, we look up and the Twins have won 8 straight. They're behind the Royals. 4 winning teams in the Central. The Tigers are in first place. The Guardians are in second place. The Royals have the 3rd best odds to win the Central, and it's going to be, for a second straight year, a very, very competitive division. I know some people nationally will argue the strength of schedule to this point in the division hasn't been great, so that's why they're winning. But, man, oh, man, compare it to any other division from a standings perspective, and it's as tough as any division in baseball right now.
They got 3 of the top 4 records in the entire American League, and to be clear, the Royals, Yankees, and Guardians are in a virtual tie. There's a slight difference in their win percentage, but the Royals have an additional win, and the Cleveland Guardians and New York Yankees have one less loss. It's the same. They're tied. So the Tigers have the best record in the American League. The Guardians, Royals, and Yankees are tied for the 2nd best record in the American League. It is to this point, toughest division in baseball. Now, not all things are created equal. The Detroit Tigers, the reason why they're a heavy favorite to still win this division, are 70 runs good in the run differential department.
Plus
the
70.
Royals are in the green finally, but are still barely inside of the plus differential. The Yankees are really similar to the Tigers in that department, and the Guardians still have a -1, which makes no sense based on their current success rate. And so I understand there probably will be a coming back to earth a little bit somewhere along the way. But I also think it's inarguable that for the 2nd straight year, it appears the American League Central is the most competitive division in the American League at the very least. Not in baseball, right? Because the West still exists and has for several years.
And the Padres and Dodgers.
But it's probably the 2nd best division in baseball again this year, and it probably was the 2nd best division in baseball last year.
I think the reason why you have some uncertainty going forward is still what the fear is for Royals fans, which is, all right, the pitching, as we discussed, is pacing even better than last year. But with that said, and with the run they just went on, they're still in 3rd, and we all know the offense still is not at a level that is likely to get them a division crown. And can they make the playoffs with this offense and with this pitching? Of course. Can they win the division? Can they win a series with the offense being like this? And the answer, I think, is no. I think we would all agree. And so it's still, for me, is can you get into June forced to 8 games above 500 and position yourself to go and make a move? And what teams are in it, what teams are not in it, who's buyers, who's sellers, which will be a majority of baseball a buyer just because with the extra wild card slot that we've had for a couple of years.
Yep.
And so, down the road, way down the road, is Cags part of this equation? But that, again, that's a huge wild card still. The guy's still in Double-A, for crying out loud. So will they do something offensively? Because the pitching, as great as it is, the offense at times have been just as bad, right? So that is still the number one concern, and it should be for everybody. The great news is they're winning games without it right now, and they're getting some timely hitting. Not this weekend where they only scored 4 runs, I think it was the entire weekend. Yeah. But prior to that, they won 16 of 18. So they have shown they're capable of winning games still with this offense being what it is. I just don't think it's the bar that I set, and I think you set as well, and the expectation was to go and win the Central. And it's going to be competitive again. This offense is not good enough to do that. The great news about baseball, you can make a move or two that changes that. You can DFA somebody. You can call up a player or two. You can go trade for an outside asset. That is all in play. Now, to what extent are they going to do that? That is what we're all wondering, and we're all going to find out over the next couple of months. And I think, is there any financial restriction? Is there progression with somebody in the minors like Cags that all of a sudden he's an added weapon in July or August? Sure, that's all the hope, but none of that's guaranteed. But that will factor in, I think, to their decision.
You mentioned a call-up, so we might as well.
That went over the scoreboard.
That sounded good.
Another jack for Jack.
That's a good one.
Jack Watch. For those asking where Jack Caglione is in the minors, he's only stayed white hot.
Well, he's in Double-A
since the time. He is still in Double-A as of 12:13 p.m. Central Standard Time. I keep hoping he's going to get called up today. It has not happened yet. He, in 33 games in Double-A Northwest Arkansas, is hitting .320 with a .392 on base percentage, a .970 OPS. He has 9 home runs, 37 RBI. In his last 2 weeks, he's hitting like 400. So he's been pretty good.
And he's added an ejection.
He did get ejected. So
he's got everything. He's done everything. Literally everything in the minors at this point in time.
Arguing balls and strikes certainly will get you there. Here's my biggest thing with him. I understand, and you and I have talked a number of times in the show, organization's not in a hurry. They want to take the time with him. They don't want to rush him to the bigs or make it seem like
for sure
he can't, they want to make him comfortable and feel comfortable and handle the jump to AAA well. This man looks bored hitting at this level. What challenge is he still getting at this point? Because when you watch him play at the Double-A level now, you look at the box score, you watch the highlights, other than the whole right field thing, which again, I would argue you can play in AAA. What challenges left remain for him in Double-A? I'd be pro call up to AAA.
Yeah, and so would I. I am still under the belief that close to Memorial Day weekend, there will be a move at the big league level, potentially Renfro, that prompts somebody else to get called up, that then opens a spot in AAA, and there's your Cags to AAA call up. Whether you think it's rave for Renfro, whatever. There could be other moves. Injuries can play a role here. But I'll stick with that. I've been saying that for a couple weeks. I'll stay with that. I agree.
Memorial Day.
I'll agree with you that it could happen today, and obviously nobody's going to complain. But I'll stick with that Memorial Day timeline. So 23rd to the 30th of the month.
When we were out there doing our Cody and Gold road trip to watch Cags, can we get a cell phone number? Can we just text him? Hey, Cags, what's up? Remember us? 2 guys from KC? You going to call up today?
He did. I think the video, the card breaking video we did with him, those are up on our Instagram channel, by the way. A couple of them full video up on YouTube if you want to check out.
It was fun.
It was fun. He was super down to earth, and it was cool being able to hang out with him. I don't know if he shared it, but maybe he liked the video as well. But no, I do not. I do not. Probably good thing that Dusty doesn't have his phone number or whatever too.
You think that would be bad for Jack Caglione?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think he would have already sent a text?
Yes.
Oh, by now.
That's too thirsty. If for some reason we'd been like, hey Jack, I'd love to do something in the future. Can we grab a number for you? Whatever. That's too thirsty. If he had already sent the text. Nice homer. I saw you on the bench press, really impressed, whatever,
Can you imagine?
I can't be having you send people, we got to... We got to draw a line. I went ahead and looked it up. I wanted like a larger split. 20 games, so 3 weeks, Gold.
Yeah.
Here, Jack Caglianone's last 20 games in AAA. 405, 477 on base percentage.
In AA?
In AA. 1179 OPS. 10 walks, 22 RBI in 20 games, 4 doubles and 6 homers. I mean, it's just not. I mean, we don't have to waste the man's time. AA is past his ability now. He needs a new challenge.
And are they at home right now? Or I know today's an off day. Are they at home?
They will be on the road. Omaha will be at home starting tomorrow.
Okay.
So
that seems convenient. No, I'll stick with the original timeline. We'll see what happens.
I hope it's today. I hope we get to do another Jack watch in like 30 minutes when they announce that he's been promoted. But I don't know. I still don't think they're taking him straight to the bigs for anybody who might ask that question.
Nope.
I know they need help in the outfield, but I still think that they would. John Ray's been hitting well again. They'd probably just move up one of the other guys. They want to take time on Caglione. The easiest way to take time is to get him to AAA. It's still only been, isn't it crazy? It's only been 33 games in AA. That's it. It feels like a lifetime now because of how well he's hitting, but it's only been 33 games. Hey, Drew, I know you had a tough week last week. So
a lot of people keep reminding us on the text line.
I feel bad even bringing it up. But there are now 2 signs that, once again, your Cincinnati Bengals are one of the worst-run organizations in the sport. Let's start with Trey Hendrickson, a guy we know for a fact does not have a deal and wants a deal from his team. He released a personal statement to ESPN today that said, quote, "No communication has taken place between my camp and the organization post-draft. The offers prior to the draft did not reflect the vision we shared and were promised last offseason if I continue to play at a high level. Coaches are aware of these past conversations. Rather than using collaboration to get us to the point and bring me home to the team, they, all caps, are no longer communicating. I have been eagerly awaiting a resolution to this situation, but that's hard to do when there is no discussion and an evident lack of interest in reaching mutual goals."
Wow.
That's a pretty damning statement.
So it sounds like to me that Joey told management, take care of my guys on offense. Keep surrounding me with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, please. Thank you very much. And I'll put up big numbers again. You guys figure out this whole defense thing. People will feel sorry for me again. And if you get Trey done, great. Don't worry about it. Figure it out. Whatever.
I don't really care. I just want something to throw to.
Again, this is all very
Selfish.
predictable. We're going to be, I've said it 100 times. We'll be sitting here in October, November. Burrow's going to look great. Chase is going to look great. Higgins is going to look great. He's going to put up great numbers for your fantasy football team. You might even put some money on an MVP bet and everything. And everybody's going to say, man, if only this guy had some defense, don't you feel terrible for Joey? And we're going to say, well, maybe, just maybe, if you didn't have to retain both wide receivers for Joey, they would pay Trey Hendrickson and they would actually talk to the guy, for crying out loud.
Well, I think that Joe is on record, and when he was making his media tour during Super Bowl week, he wanted to keep Trey, and they asked him about Trey, and he said, yeah, I want all 3 of them back. All 3 of them should be back. So
he didn't seem to push quite as hard.
Well, it's because I think, and we even discussed this before, the priority, I think, was always those 2 because Joe Burrow is the quarterback. Like, if Patrick Mahomes said, hey, I want these guys back, the Chiefs would make sure that they get those guys in the building first. Not that they...
But their issue was defense, though, right?
Sure. And I think the most concerning part of this is the offers prior to the draft did not reflect the vision we shared and were promised last offseason if I continue to play well. That's the concerning part, is you don't make...
They thought he was going to fall off and they could cheap out.
You don't make empty promises. And, Cody, along with the point that you just said, doesn't that feel kind of like the Bengals, Yeah, if you do this, fine, but we don't think you will, or we're hoping that you don't, kind of in the back of our minds. And it turns out that he did, and now all of a sudden they're having a problem actually paying him the amount of money that they want to be paid. The fact that they're not even communicating, I think, is pretty disrespectful, at least in regards
to an all-time great player.
For in regards to a guy that's been extremely good for your franchise and pivotal to your franchise. I think that the front office just is... I don't think they truly understand exactly what they're doing right now. And maybe that's a Mike Brown thing, or maybe that's a Katie Blackburn thing, but It's very annoying as a fan base to see the disrespect, at least from this angle in particular. It's really bad.
The good news, though, is that the Bengals addressed defense in the first round with their rookie, Shamar Stewart. The good news, the good news is I'm sure he's been at OTAs and a rookie minicamp, and I'm sure he's already getting involved in learning defense, and I'm sure he's been on the field. No, wait, he's not. I've been told that has not happened. I'm told that he's holding out as a rookie like this is 2007 still, as if that happens. Nobody holds out anymore. He's not happy with the structure of the contract. This sounds very much like the Bengals being cheap, even though the dollar amount is basically the dollar amount. He was also not a top 5.
Offset language. They're trying to do what they did with like Roquan Smith with Chicago years ago.
But this guy wasn't even a top 5 pick.
According to reports, he wants more roster bonuses and less salary so that he can maybe get paid quicker. Essentially, is the way that his agent, I think,
so just pay him.
Send it out. Well, that's what
Who cares? Just pay him.
I think this is the more embarrassing, even though the trade thing. I guess I said this before the show. This is before this came out. The trade thing's more embarrassing now. But before the show started, I was on my take was that this is more embarrassing because, like you said, Cody, the money's the money. Like the money is there for all of the first round picks. It's laid out for all of them. It's a pretty simple process, and hey, how do we make this work? And if you have to fudge a couple million, then fine. We got to get the deal done. But it's not like this is an exorbitant amount of money. Like you're not paying him $30 million a year. You're not paying him $20 million a year.
They're cheap.
It's a 4-year, $20 million contract that they somehow still are making an excuse to not give up the money for. It's really embarrassing.
The penniest pinching organization in the entire league. This is honest. Like this might.
It's really bad.
Here's my first Super Bowl take of 2025. The Cincinnati Bengals are no longer relevant in the serious Super Bowl conversation and will not be for the entirety of Joe Burrow's career. They're done. Because they paid 2 wide receivers and don't know how to run an organization. They lucked into a Super Bowl trip because they had a quarterback on a rookie deal and they didn't have to be good with their money. They're making so much money and living in a studio apartment, it wasn't a problem to figure it all out. And now they got bills,
I don't know if they lucked into
and they don't know how to handle their business or take care of people the right way, and they'll just cheap out the rest of the way, and eventually they won't matter anymore.
I don't think they lucked into the trip at all, to Gold's point, but I do think that in regards to your point about the making the most of Joe Burrow's rookie deal, and now that they've paid him, the organization is inept to the comparison of
back to the cheap ways.
I've talked on the show about, hey, the Eagles are doing the same thing. If you compare the organizations, they are the complete opposite of each other in terms of how well they are run. Where the Eagles can't afford to pay those guys because they know how to get the job done. They know what to do. Where it seems like the Bengals, yes, they paid their guys, but they don't know the next step in the process to figure it out. So I think it's interesting, but quite embarrassing. The Bengals once again look like the team that a lot of people think that they are, which it's hard
that
to...
team's getting fights with first-round picks versus just giving them...
It's not hard to support the team I've always rooted for, but it's hard to support the way that they're doing it in regards to the reports that have come out, especially with the disrespect for Trey Hendrickson and how well he's played for the organization to not even talk, I think it's a pretty cowardly way to go out. Or even if they trade him at this point, it's so cowardly to not at least say something at this point.
He's one of the, 20 best players they've ever had, probably. Trey Hendrickson.
I don't know about, ever had?
I mean, it's a pretty bad franchise.
There's
I just want to point that out.
I understand, but there's a conversation. But I don't know if I can say that quickly. But he's certainly one of the best players that they've had in their franchise's history in terms of being able to get to the passer. So
is he there? I mean, where is he in the all-time sack category for their team?
Well, he hasn't played his whole career there. He's only played, I think, 3 seasons there to this point. So he was drafted by the Saints.
All right, that's true.
If he was drafted by them, then yes, a completely different story. But he was not. He was traded for them. So
because normally I just think like a team sack leader is in their top 20 players of all time, right? Because you led the team in sacks, it just seems embarrassed.
He led the league in sacks, Cody. Let's
Look,
make
if
sure
he gets a brand, if he gets a long-term extension, then he'll be a guy that ends up getting his jersey retired in Cincinnati and all that. That'll still happen.
Oh yeah,
I looked it up. Their all-time leader in sacks is Carlos Dunlap.
Is it really?
Shout out to Carlos.
Hey,
Chiefs great. Carlos Dunlap.
Carlos Dunlap.
Nobody batted down more passes than Carlos Dunlap during that stretch.
How far behind is he? Is Hendrickson from
He's like
Dunlap?
20 behind.
28?
He's like 20-ish.
Shoot, that might be one season.
So he might.
I mean,
Geno Atkins was number 2.
Geno Atkins is a freaking legend.
Bleak franchise history.
Up next, we'll talk about this Chiefs offense, though, and look at some projections for a couple players. Who's this offense running through? Plus, the random question of the day right here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education, but that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Hey, KC, it's almost Andy Reid. Renner Garage Door isn't just opening doors this month. They're opening hearts in support of Mental Health Awareness Month. Renner is donating 5% of all sales to Authentic Life Foundation, supporting vital mental health services to those in need. For supporting this cause, you'll get 5% off your project. Call or visit rennerdoor.com, where quality and compassion open doors to a better community.
RENNER, RENNER. Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
Hitting an underground utility can cause costly damage and serious injury. Contact Missouri 811 online or simply dial 811 at least 3 working days before you dig. It's fast, free, and the law. Safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time.
Stop before you dig. Click or call 811. Every dig, every time.
It's the law. Sponsored by Missouri 811.
Guys, don't waste your time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit our TRT experts today at the Low T Center for a free consultation and free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurance is accepted with the freedom to choose if you want in-center care or at-home treatment. You're in control of your health. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start your prescription treatment. Offer limited. Look now at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
If the high cost of living is weighing you down, lighten your load at Hy-Vee. This Saturday and Sunday, get a 25-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $50 purchase. Stock up on groceries and stack up the fuel savings. Earn 25 cents per gallon with your $50 purchase, 50 cents per gallon with a $100 purchase, and so on. The more you spend, the more you'll save. Your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss the 2-day Fuel Saver event this Saturday and Sunday, only at Hy-Vee.
Graduation season is always so busy around our house, and when we have important celebrations, we trust Hy-Vee. They're my go-to partner for all of our family celebrations, and Hy-Vee can help you with your graduation party planning. They have party trays, personalized cakes, cookies, floral arrangements, party decor, and so much more. Plus, you can leave all the prep work and messy cleanup to Hy-Vee with full-service catering for any size celebration. Choose from a wide range of menu options to suit your style and your budget, only at Hy-Vee.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super-sized laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
I did see during the break, MLB Pipeline, as of yesterday, put out their new rankings for the entire minor league system.
Uh-huh.
Jack Caglione officially debuted at his highest number yet as the 10th best prospect in baseball.
Yeah, I would say that sounds
baseball.
about right based on what he's done in AA and soon to be AAA, hopefully. Nobody's gonna argue with that ranking. Some would say it should be even higher.
Like number 1?
Perhaps.
I mean, if he stayed in the minors this entire year, he probably would be like the number
Heading into next
3 ranked
season.
prospect in baseball going into the year. I still think he will make his major league debut this year. And I hope you and I are in the stands rocking our CAG shirts. You know,
That'd be nice. That would
for
be
anybody
nice.
who got him on the Cody and Gold road trip. You know,
Mhm.
we could all go out there together. You guys could buy them. I think they sell them at Raygun.
They
So
do. Yep,
you
go
can
on
get them
Raygun's
anytime you
site.
want.
You can go on Raygun's site. Maybe the local store has it, but I know on Raygun's
I was
site.
told they'd have them in the local store for whatever it's worth. I didn't personally look.
We will get to the random question of the day here in about 8 minutes or so, but let's talk some Chiefs football because over the weekend we saw a photo at the Speedway and Rashee Rice was there. Yes, insert your jokes there, text line, but he was at the Speedway.
There is a little bit of a joke to be made.
For
that
sure.
He's
For
there
sure.
with Brett Veach at a racetrack.
But he was there, and when you see that, you're like, okay, remember how much the offense was going through him prior to the injury. And that happened in that Week 4 game, of course, we all know, against the Chargers. So if you were to look at how things sit right now, and we're not even at mini camp yet in June or later this month, who's the offense going through in 2025? I think the answer is him again.
You still think it's Rashee? It was last year to start the season.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
And they have basically said our plan last year was going to be great, but people got hurt. Because if you look at they brought back Hollywood Brown. They didn't draft, they drafted Jalen Royals,
But in the fourth.
but in the 4th round, Travis Kelce's still on the team. He didn't retire. Running back wise, we've talked a great deal about they pretty much ran that back for the most part. They are saying that we had the talent. Unfortunately, Hollywood Brown, weird fluky injury in preseason. Rashee Rice had an injury on an interception return. They're saying we had the guys, and Rice was who the offense was going to run through. Then it became Travis Kelce, which is why I think he actually looked the way he looked. Because at this point in time, I don't think the offense should run through Travis Kelce. He might actually look better this year, Kelce, than he did a year ago, and the offense won't run through him. If Rice is healthy and has a minimal suspension, if any, I think the offense runs through Rashee Rice because that was the plan a year ago.
The funny part is that I could make an argument, I think successfully, that the offense ran through all 3 people we need to consider at some point last year. For the first month, the offense ran through Rashee Rice. For the next 2 months, the offense ran through Travis Kelce. And when Xavier Worthy got up to speed, I would make the argument that the offense ran through him.
Yeah, it's not. My answer is it's not Kelsey. It's not going to be Kelsey.
I don't think so either. I think they want to switch back to it running through a wide receiver, and I think it's more likely that it's Xavier Worthy than it is Travis Kelsey at this point, which sounds crazy on paper, I know, but also feels that way. So I guess the follow-up to that is, does it – I think for years, part of the reason we discuss this on this show is because this is what they want, and sometimes we talk about execution versus desire. When it comes to the Royals, the Chiefs, whoever. I think the Chiefs' strong desire has been it doesn't run through anybody, and that it's a three-headed monster, and you don't know where the ball's going. Right. Think about how many times we talk going into a year. 5 years in a row, I don't know. We don't even know who the ball's going to. Go to Sky Moore, Tony.
Right. That was a two years ago convo for sure, yeah.
And then last year, it circled back up a little bit, and people let it die a little bit because the last time we had a serious conversation about it, it turned out to be kind of a joke, and it turned out there was no one to throw the ball to. It wasn't who is the ball going to go to. You'll never know. You'll never predict us. It was ball's going to nobody, didn't matter. This is their best chance to actually have what they wanted a couple of years ago. Because I do see a world in which Travis Kelsey, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy are all between 900 and 1,000-yard guys. Like they're all in a range, Gold, which means it doesn't run through one guy. It runs with them. The only other argument that I would never make is that, like, does it run through the running game? That's never been Andy Reid, and I'd never even bother wasting my time making that argument. But I think it runs through one of those three. And for some reason, I feel like Travis Kelsey is the least likely of those three. And it's not that I don't think he's an important part of the offense. He definitely is. I think Rashee Rice is the favorite. Xavier Worthy is the second most likely, and then we get to Travis Kelsey. Rashee, man, he looked like he was going to be like a 1,400,
I think he was
110 catch guy last year.
I think that's exactly where this thing was trending, and then the injury happened. So assuming that the recovery is going as well as the Chiefs claim it is for Rice, and I'm not just talking about the Instagram videos, like we had Brett Veach on the show and everything, assuming that recovery and he's ahead of schedule. And then the question is, if he gets suspended, is it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 suspension or more? I think it's less than 6 now at this point if he gets suspended at all. So to me, from a statistical standpoint, if he were to miss only 2 games or something, then he has a chance still to lead this team and receiving. I saw Mike Clay over at ESPN, who does like fantasy projections, and he laid out his yardage projections. Now, let me be clear. For whatever reason, he's factoring in multiple guys in
missing time.
Yeah, so like all the wide receivers, he has none of them playing in 16 games. Now, you can say, well, last year there was injuries, so maybe it's warranted. Well, he has Rashee Rice playing in 14 games, 85 catches, 959 yards, and 6 touchdowns, leading the team in receiving with that. He had Xavier Worthy, 107 targets, 70 receptions, 927 yards, and 7 receptions. And then he had Travis Kelsey with the third most receiving yards in 15 games, 74 catches, 726 in 5. So I just think the projections are way off because he only has Mahomes playing in 15 games as well, and he has him thrown for less than 4,000 yards in 15 games.
Yeah, that seems unlikely. But I mean, I think projections should always be for... Like, you can factor in games, but you don't need to tell me, right? Whatever number, like, let's just say, all right, Gold, what's your official projection for how many yards Hollywood Brown has in? Factor in all of it. Factor in if you think he's going to miss a few games. Factor in if you think he's the 5th option. Factor in if you think he's ahead of or behind, whoever. Just, I don't care what the factors are. Just tell me the totals. Like, that's all that really matters to me because you should be factoring in potential injury. I don't think that that's crazy. Like when I make a projection for last year, when we were making our projections for Hollywood Brown, it included the fact that I thought he'd miss some games. I didn't think he'd miss the whole damn season.
Well, no, but like the only problem with the Mike Clay projections is other than Carson Steele, he has nobody playing in 17 games.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes has played, here's his games, I couldn't remember by year. 16 and 16, would have played in all 17, didn't have to play in the final game. 17. So like in the last 4 years, the last time he only played 15 games was 2020, played in 14 in 2019. It's just like, what's the point? Why even guess that? He was under 4,000 yards last year in 16 games. So it's not as crazy as you think, but we all think this offense is on paper to be way, way better.
Yeah, I just don't know if Mike Clay is projecting injuries for... He's basically saying everybody on the roster is missing, on the skill position-wise, is missing 2 games. That doesn't make... Like, it just doesn't...
You have to account for the suspension, too, in there, because...
Sure, for Rice, that's why he has him at 14, but he has Worthy at 15.
Even still, though, 14, that means... Is this, like, including the playoffs? Because Rashee's missing more than 3 games.
I don't know.
I mean, you would assume.
So somebody on the text line said, hey, he's getting at least 6 games. He was in a crash.
As of right this second, he may not even get suspended this year. Might be pushed back to 2026.
I'm not kidding. I was definitely on that person's camp the second this thing happened for a long time under the criminal case. There is, and I continue to look it up because I'm just fascinated by it. There's still not on the docket anything. There's no pending criminal case in Dallas for this accident. There is a civil case that's coming up in a month or whatever. There is no pending case on the docket in Dallas for this car crash. And the fact that it's been more than a year makes me think his lawyers are making this thing go away. And once the civil stuff's done, makes me think that, and I don't think the NFL, when time goes off this, it doesn't involve, and like, I hate to say it, but like they rank this based on like whether the crime happened against somebody, all this other stuff. Like, I kind of feel like the NFL's lost its thirst for suspending Rashee Rice for any real length of time. If you made me guess right now, I'd say 4 or less. I might guess 2. If you made me just put an official number, I might guess 2 or 3 games, Drew.
I would guess 4.
I don't know what you would guess, Alex. I might get between 2 and 4.
A couple minutes ago, I said I think it's less than 6 games now. So, yeah, I mean that would put in that 4 range.
Do you guys agree with this text that if Rashee was fully healthy, he's getting 1,600 yards for
last year, probably
for context? That would place him 100 yards behind Jamar Chase and 400 above anybody else.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting 1,600. I think 1,300 is a very fair number, though. A very fair number. It would be a hell of a season, but a very fair number.
14 would be second by 200 yards.
The question with Rice and the projections for him is, honestly, there is a real chance that this drags on long enough where it's another season that he doesn't get suspended. I told you worst case scenario, though, and I still think the NFL should be required to, if you already are looking at a current issue that already happened, that you should have to make a decision by a certain date in August if you're suspending him for this season. Otherwise, it goes to the next year. I don't think they should be able to wake up in November all of a sudden and lay down a 4-game suspension. And that goes for anybody.
Yeah, in weeks 8 through 12.
But someone says the NFL does its own investigation. 100% they do. They usually do not suspend players anymore because they got in hot water for this back with the Zeke Elliott stuff. Until the actual court proceedings are done. You're right that they will do their own investigation. They usually do not suspend somebody until the legal process is done. Usually. That's why we're saying that it may not happen unless something, over the next 2 or 3 months really evolves in Dallas. So we'll see. I don't know. None of us know what's going to happen. We're speculating, obviously, but using prior circumstances in the NFL to kind of get to that conclusion.
And as time goes on, I just feel like there's less likely the suspension is long.
Random question.
For you, Gold, for you, Drew, or on the text line, 913-586-7965. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Live stream the show 4 hours every single day. Like and subscribe over on YouTube. If you wanted to go to the top of your page, way easier. You can join the people over in the chat on that end. I try to interact with people over there as well, and on Twitch. So let us know. But for you guys, this is a question as it relates to the trip, but we'll get back to the trip stuff here in just a minute. This relates to what is courtesy and what is allowed courtesy. All right, so we've been gone since we missed 4 shows last week. So we've been gone 6 days from the building. Last week when I left the building, I had brought in, like a week and a half ago, some little like cheese and cracker things that just go in the fridge. Like pre-made little cheese and cracker things. Just trying to like be a little bit better about not buying stuff from there.
Charcuterie board? Or
nah, dude, just like Ritz crackers.
Okay.
It's like
left it in the building.
I had brought multiple because I was like eating them as snacks over the course of time. Last Friday, I meant to bring it home, or last Tuesday, sorry, when we left, I meant to bring it home and I forgot. I was like, oh, no big deal. I left one in the fridge. And so today, coming into work, I knew I had that there. I'm like, great, I got a snack at work. Problem solved. Go to the fridge. Gone.
Wow.
Gone. And I want to be very, so the question I have for you, and then I want to be
now,
very
this
clear.
was like you packaged it yourself?
No, it is in a like branded.
And somebody just took
Ritz branded, and someone obviously just took it. So the question I have for you is what's the amount of time something is allowed to be in the fridge before it's fair game? Because I'll be honest, maybe 2 people in the entire building use that fridge for food. Yeah. It's 3. Me, Speck, and Rob. I've never seen you or Drew or anyone else open that fridge, put food in it.
I've like
all the food in it is super, other than like the big company stuff. So if we get like tacos delivered by like a company,
I've not used that fridge.
30 Hop brings us lunch because they're our official lunch partner here at Cody and Gold. Yeah. Maybe 30 Hop brings some food. Maybe some ends up in there from a court thing. But this is clearly belongs to an individual. Is 6 days. Did I leave it in there too long for it to get snagged?
No, because here's the other thing. I don't know about you. I'm not grabbing somebody else's food for a variety of reasons outside of the fridge. Like that. That's why I asked if it was homemade or if it was prepackaged. Prepackaged is a little bit better, but like, no, you don't. If you know it's not yours, you don't take. This isn't like you're at your house. Like, look, I don't know about you, because even growing up as a kid, I ran into this with my sisters. Like, and if your wife, if you had like a candy bar in the fridge. If it's in there for 3 days, my sisters probably took it by then, or I took it.
Yeah, family. It's a free for little more of a free for all in the family department.
But at work, if you know whatever item it is not yours, what the hell are you grabbing it for? You know it's not yours. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, do you want to hunt this person down?
Somebody says the only. Yeah, kind of. Someone says the only right answer is a week over in the text line. After a week, it's fair game.
People are guessing who it is. I don't think it's someone from the station. I really don't.
Again, I might have to go there after because I'll be hungry. 30 Hop is our Monday lunch partner here on Cody and Gold. $5.99 classic burgers today. Go ahead.
Someone says fridge gets cleaned every Friday. Work rules. I wish that was our work rules.
Dude,
I wish, guys. Dude, I wish that does not happen.
This fridge could grow. Yes, it's always the big stuff. I'll say it's always like the big stuff. Like if we have catered food that shows up from like a great local company, right? And that stuff sits in there. That stuff it takes a little longer to get cleaned up. This is a prepackaged thing.
Did you put your name on it?
I did not put a name on it.
I don't think you need to, but I just
on
wondering.
that case, you know it's not yours.
Right. Yeah.
This would always come down to me. They're like, did they know it was yours? Doesn't matter. And I don't think they knew it was mine.
Yours,
you know it's not yours.
Yeah.
You know you didn't have the little Ritz crackers and cheese.
Yeah.
Nobody put this is another thing that I think is important. Our company is very good at this. When there's free food in the building available for grab, we get emails about it. We get big company emails from Joe downstairs, does an excellent job. Hey guys, free tacos. Hey, there was some left over. Right. Put them in the fridge. Somebody brought by this. Somebody brought by a burger. They tell us when food is fair game.
Who do we think did that?
I mean, it could be the FM side too. I can't speak.
I don't think it's actually someone from the station. I really don't. I think somebody on the other side maybe took it.
I agree.
I think, though, in general, yes. If it's clearly not yours, why are you taking it, no matter how long it was been in there? Now, if it'd been there and it was getting moldy for 3 weeks, well, then you might just throw it out and it's SOL on that one.
I went for it today, man. But 6 days.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. You should test this, though. Do you want to put another one in there?
I'll just be honest, it's not the first thing that's been taken from the fridge. I've had beverages also go missing.
Oh.
Jeez.
Sparkling waters have gone missing. And you know those don't belong to you.
I think it's the FM side?
Do they have their own fridge over there? That's the only question I have.
People
Does the
are
FM
guessing,
side own their own fridge?
People are guessing Binker Carrington. I don't think either of them
By the
would
way,
grab
we call
the
it the
crackers.
FM side. We're on the FM now. It's kind of funny.
Oh,
we used to call it the music
music
side. We used to call it the FM side internally.
So I think what you should do for the drinks now is just use this one back here that we use for stuff for the fan club.
No. Everyone's getting in that fridge. That one's even less safe than the main fridge.
You think so?
Yes.
Someone wants to know why are you putting crackers in the fridge? They get soggy and moist.
No, it's a prepackaged thing that's meant to be in the fridge. They say to refrigerate it because
it
has
one of those
cheese.
Lunchables is what you're saying.
You risk the cracker integrity because they're little crackers. They don't get it soggy. You risk the cracker integrity for the cheese integrity. That's why. I want the cheese. The cheese got to be cold.
I got you.
You'd rather a soggy cracker than like warm cheese that's not melted enough. This is a fairly obvious.
Yeah, we do not have a fridge that resets every Friday. We don't.
If that were the case, completely different argument.
Yeah.
That fridge hasn't reset in 2 months. There's no reset out there.
I don't know.
I think this is what's crazy to me. Someone went over there who does not access that fridge regularly and just likes to occasionally check. See if there's anything good.
They might
grab.
access the fridge. You never know. Like they might be accessing
But they're
the
not
fridge
putting
quite
it
a
for
bit.
their own personal things, you know?
Yeah, well,
they just like look in there to see it. And if it's been, they think 48 hours is fair game.
Well, it's just sitting in there.
No one's using it. The last thing, because I've had a couple things go missing. The last couple times with the drinks, it was less than 4 days. So like I doubt that cheese and cracker thing made it. I mean, because you got to think Saturday and Sunday, nobody was here digging into the fridge.
No.
Not enough people in the building, right?
I still just don't get the overall concept of going. I wouldn't want to go in the work fridge and grab someone else's food.
No, exactly. Yeah.
I just wouldn't want to do that.
There
That's just me being weird. But I wouldn't even want to grab somebody else's food.
Yeah.
I mean, there have also been stories at this point of people doing things to their food because they know that it is getting taken.
I know, but I don't think I can put laxatives.
I don't think you
Then
can.
you're going to get fired.
I'm getting
over
fired.
this thing.
Someone says Speck's got to get a better control on his employees. Profanity on the air, like last week when I dropped an F-bomb.
Someone says dust the fridge for Prince. Get every fingerprint off there.
Fridge for Prince. Clean it. Like wipe the whole thing down and then leave one
Text line
baked.
says, rumor has it Bink had the cheese with his beer tasting last week. Damn. Did you guys even drink beer on the air last week?
Bink had one. Yes.
No, Bink's not eating cheese and crackers. Come on.
He didn't have any food.
You're not eating cheese and crackers.
Somebody said 24 hours. That's crazy. That's way too short of a time. I should be allowed to 24 hours. I could pack a lunch and then we're like, hey guys, let's all go get lunch at the workplace. And then I leave it. And I should be allowed to eat it the next day.
Do you set it in there? Do you have a bag? Do you have a container? Do you just literally just set it in there?
does it need to be
I think
in a bag?
I think you need to.
Shouldn't have to for people not to take it, but you also should probably put your name on
it. You probably just can't just throw it in there. You probably need to have it marked or put it in a bag or something.
I guess it's just I know it doesn't belong to you.
I agree. But I'm just saying, for your sake, I think you're better off. If you would have had that in a paper bag, I doubt that thing's missing.
I don't know, man. It's questionable.
Try it. Put one in a paper bag. Try it.
See how long it
Someone from the
lasts.
913 said they took a coworker's Cheez-It bag 15 minutes ago, ate half of it, and then realized it's been sitting in the same spot for a month. Oh, well. You're snitching on yourself.
Rig a Lunchable with a glitter.
Everyone is guessing. I'm going to, in the break, I'm going to go see if the music side has their own fridge. Because then we can limit the culprits to just us and KMBZ.
Start
then
our
there's
own
a
segment
fix.
called
There's a fix.
Cody's investigation. I don't know.
And we bring in one person at a time. We turn the lights down and we put a spotlight in someone's face and we force them to answer questions about things that are missing in the fridge.
I think the only
it's
thing
a
here,
full interrogation.
The very fair question with this is, you said it was crackers and cheese. Now, what type of cheese was it?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti, cream cheese, Colby Jack. Did I say Gruyere? Blue. Swiss.
Which one was it? All of them?
It's got to be a basic
There's
one
two.
with crackers.
A cheddar? Well,
Yeah, so there's
cheddar?
two different packs. One had Wheat Thins as the cracker and a Colby Jack cheddar combination, and the other one had a provolone cheddar combination and had a Ritz cracker. So I got them at Costco. They were nice,
Well, I'm sure.
Nice little snack.
Nothing wrong with a little
I was looking forward to it today.
charcuterie-ish.
I didn't have any more in my fridge at home. I thought, but I was like, I got one there. I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much.
Got some of that. We were just a wine tasting in California. They had nice
I'll
little
walk on over
crackers
there
and
with you,
cheese.
Cody.
Nice. Was that your favorite spot you stopped at? Was the winery?
Look, honestly, just chilling by the ocean and hearing the waves and stuff was just nice and relaxing. But no, I went to a wine tasting room the day before the wedding, and very nice people. Ended up talking. I was there much longer than I thought I was going to be there, and bought a bottle or two, brought it back, and I don't know. Maybe I'll bring it into fan club.
Did it
one day.
make
I
it
don't know.
safely?
It did.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it was.
We
in
haven't
between
had wine.
clothes.
We haven't had a wine.
We haven't.
Fan club Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up a bottle, maybe.
I'll
you're
go
right.
over there.
Little wine. Actually, after this conversation, wine and cheese on Friday.
Wine and cheese on
Little
Friday.
classy fan club Friday. What do you guys think?
Wine and cheese Friday.
I'll be Dr. Watson if you're Holmes, and I'll go over there with you, Cody, to investigate during the break.
Go dust the fridge. Go dust the fridge. That's the random question of the day. I did also see while we were gone, there was more of this Belichick drama.
I can't get enough of it.
So
man.
Jordan Hudson, obviously the girlfriend, and then at one point, the one report said that they were banning her from North Carolina's facilities. Then UNC came out and said, no, she's not banned, even though she's not an employee. She's welcome, around the program at any time. And, June 1st is when Belichick's contract buyout goes down to $1 million, and everybody's making a big deal about that. Somebody would have to hire Belichick for that to even matter. And who the hell is going to hire him with this baggage or whatever we're talking about? So the buyout going down to $1 million he would have to just retire and quit on his own. Nobody else can offer him a job and pay the buyout of $1 million at this point, because you don't know if he's just not the same person anymore. That he has found this woman and everything in his life has been prioritized differently, and he's, drunk on her.
I mean, dude, did you guys watch
Blinded
that
by
entire?
her.
Did you guys listen to that entire episode of the Pablo Torre podcast? They do a really good job of a lot of times silly investigative journalism, in the sense that they really do investigate it, but sometimes for stories that are in the world less important but interesting all the less.
Yeah.
Dude, they were in deep. They were talking about they started getting deep into her dating history and her real estate portfolio and
the real estate thing is
relationship
interesting.
and
digging down the rabbit hole.
They were down the rabbit hole.
Wow. Yeah, the real estate part's weird, because all of a sudden she went from nothing to having, millions of dollars in real estate. It doesn't just happen overnight. So
I don't know if this was a fake report I saw over the weekend. I think he's doing Good Morning America or something like that on Friday.
He ought to stop doing TV.
I saw
with her or just by himself?
I don't know.
They might as well just be holding hands doing the interview together. That'd be great.
She could be the one
hands in each
asking
other's
him the
pockets.
questions, actually.
I would pay $1,000 for that photo. Bill Belichick and Jordan with their hands in each other's pockets like it's the 90s.
So, awful announcing put this out yesterday. Bill Belichick will sit down with Michael Strahan on Good Morning America this Friday on ABC.
With Michael Strahan?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Can't wait. I guess on Friday we'll get another
I guess
update.
Oprah wasn't available. I mean, my goodness.
Look, I think he is learning one very quick lesson, which is if you can hide all of your media stuff in the NFL and just disappear and nobody will say a thing and nobody will ever notice. In college
football ain't covering that up for you,
man. SEC country? Do you know how many times?
Or ACC.
It doesn't matter.
Do you know how many times Jordan has been mentioned in an ACC recruiting visit?
More times than we've seen a highlight of one of his players.
That's right.
Dude,
that's right.
Just so many times. I guarantee you Dabo's been hitting it hard. Dabo's offensive coordinator has just been burying this part of it. It's crazy.
All right, up next. We'll get to the 1 o'clock hour. Let's talk more about the Royals and the pitching. It's even better than a year ago. Plus, what occurred at the wedding we were at, including Cody obsessing over something very weird.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
The semifinals are here, folks. That means all the show-stopping action is turning up a notch. Don't miss your chance to bet on all the legendary moments with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel's the best place to find all your favorite player props, and now you can make the smarter play with new performance trends. If you want to see whether or not that player's hitting their over consistently, or maybe they've been flirting with a potential triple-double, get the latest stats right inside the app and see who's heating up. And once the game starts, well, that's when things get interesting. You can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. And if you don't already have FanDuel, it's not too late to get in on the action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansgamblinghelp.com.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today. Get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captid Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. Come in today for incredible anniversary savings across the store. You'll find some of the hottest prices of the year, now through May 20th only. From fresh produce to family favorites, don't miss the unbeatable prices at every Cosentino's location. For 77 years, it's been our family's honor to serve yours. And we're just getting started.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
John, what do you think about these tariffs? What do you think is going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The prices on used cars have suddenly come up because the cost has gone up. And at GimmeTheVin.com, we're paying more. Go to GimmeTheVin.com, put in your license plate, and see for yourself. We're paying more today than we were yesterday. Remember, the tariffs have raised the car prices, and we are paying extra. GimmeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer. Sell us your car.
Sell us your car. GimmeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunk Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe? No-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m.? Big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas? The ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk. Real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah, yeah. Royals games, announcers, and more Royals games. Did I mention they have the Royals? Stream now.
Hey, it's Cole Riggins, and this is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Royals baseball.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
All right, did a little research, Gold, in the break.
Oh, you found out
Cody
who stole
Tapp, Alex
your
Gold, Drew Nixon
cheese
with
and crackers?
You. If you're new to the show, this is Cody and Gold here on 96.5 The Fan. I asked a question and said, is there a fridge on the other side? I was not sure. The answer is yes, but it's an oversized mini fridge. So the music side would still have probably some interest.
Yeah, let's just name names. Who do you think stole your cheese and crackers?
I think it was someone on this side of the building.
Okay.
I don't think the music side is to blame here.
Do you think it was someone from this station, or do you think it was somebody from KMZZ, basically?
I think they're inside the house. I think this is an inside job.
So narrow it down. Narrow it down.
I mean, I've already done it.
I was already
that only leaves seven people.
I was gone, so it's I wouldn't do it anyway, but definitely not me.
So now I'm down to Logan and Bink, who are filling in for us. Drew, did you do it?
Mac.
Okay, so
Bob,
it wasn't Drew.
Dusty, Rob Carrington.
That's it.
And I guess Speck, but I doubt Speck stole your cheese and cracker.
He was also out of town.
He was out of town,
so
too.
Speck is also innocent.
I think
Speck is clear due to, he has an alibi.
Be honest. There's a name in your mind. Just say it. Say it.
I don't want to toss around.
He told me the name over there.
I haven't heard.
Here's the thing. On air, we have to be a little more judicious about what we say. We can't have slander flying around. So I would like to do more research, carefully put my words together before I formally accuse.
You're going to bring something in that you're not intending to eat at all, and you're just going to see if it disappears again.
Yeah, because this is not a police situation, my next plan is entrapment. We have two choices. Entrapment, which I believe is the most logical way in which I set up a glitter bomb, hidden camera, whatever we want to do in order to, make sure the guilty party is caught.
Cody really wanted this cheese and crackers today. He's very upset about this.
This is more about integrity.
Uh-huh.
I can just go buy a new cheese and crackers. I respect that. They actually have them available. This is another thing. A similar product is available for sale.
Yeah, but that cost that person money. That's why they took yours
We're talking
instead.
$2?
They didn't want to spend the money.
We're talking $2 now we're stealing?
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
People are accusing people based on prior history on the text line.
Well, Dusty did steal the Whit Merrifield suitcase. So, he has stolen before.
Still don't remember why he did that.
And Bink is getting some serious shade, man.
A lot of people think it's Banter Carrington.
Let's just we're going to get to the Royals. Let's just get right into that portion for a second because multiple people have texted in and said, Drew, you seem so much happier this week. People said you had a rough week. People said you sounded stressed out last week. They said Bink was giving you a very hard time. You were trying to rein Bink in. He was trying to talk about booty calls to leave the show. You got flustered. They said Drew is much calmer and relaxed this week.
Well, I think in terms of the management of things that are going to be said over the air, I don't think there's as much. Not I think concern's the bad word is the wrong word for this, but I feel like.
Are you and Bink all right? Are you guys? We need to have him come in Friday and settle it. Oh, you're gone Friday, but settle this.
Friday. And Bink and I are cool, but I do think there was.
What about Logan?
I think Logan's good too. There were some moments though in the show where Bink. I was a little bit worried that Bink was going to go on one of those rants that I needed to try to keep him inside the bubble on, I needed to just focus, Bink, focus. But it
sounded
was
stressful. We were out on the beach.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Enjoying life.
Look, Drew, while you were stressed out, let me put it in perspective. While you were stressed out, we were at the wedding on
wine tasting
Wednesday
and on the beach.
It was nice. A Wednesday night. We're at the cocktail party, the welcome party for our old producer's wedding. And everybody's having a great time. And we're eating some food. And Cody, randomly, in only the way Cody could do it, just starts holding up a fork and a little smirk on his face, is looking around at it like his wife's with him.
And was investigating it,
and he's like, it's a great fork. I'm like, okay.
Not something you pay attention to?
These are the same forks we have at our house. And he was so proud.
Identical, Drew.
Proud.
Isn't that a weird coincidence?
Yes, but it's
I'm in California for a wedding where I was also, that's where I got married. And they just happened to be using the same forks that I got for my wedding as a gift. It seemed like an interesting coincidence.
It's an interesting coincidence, but for you to hold it up.
He held it up and
admire it.
He talked about it for the rest of the night. It was a conversation in the shuttle back to the hotel. It was about forks. The shuttle driver even said, I've never heard people talk about forks this much.
Oh, yeah. Dude, it became like the shuttle ride back. It was a regular portion of the conversation on the way back.
Jeez.
The other parts that became interesting were somebody had brought their own sidebar full of
what was up with
weird
that?
Exotic liquor. I don't know.
From
I don't
Europe.
even know
It was
what was
definitely
serving over there. There was all kinds of stuff.
It was definitely
European.
from maybe Spain, I think, actually, in particular. But it was, there was a lot going on. But the forks, man.
Forks I was locked in on.
I still don't know. Maybe I'm way off. How many of you could right now name the brand of fork and recognize it if I just held a photo of it up?
If I had a 30 fork lineup, you don't think you could pick out your fork?
No.
Oh man,
I could probably pick mine out, but that doesn't mean
I can tell
know
you
what
which
the
ones
brand
it's
it
not.
is.
I can eliminate quite a few. You know, they have some weird design on the like
Yeah,
handle or
there's a
something.
few you
like,
think you could narrow, but you're not you don't think you could say with 100% confidence that's my fork.
But you and your wife were so happy. So happy that the fork.
I was impressed.
And then at dinner there was a different fork, and Cody was disappointed. Same brand.
Same
though.
brand.
Same brand.
No,
Quality brand fork.
Now we got people asking how many prongs there was on the fork. How many
4
prongs?
prongs.
Okay.
Silver.
Although
at dinner, gold. I like the gold forks.
They went fancier for the dinner fork.
I like the
you
gold
know?
dinner fork. Yeah.
You know, they didn't have like the full charger, for the plate, but it was a nice dinner setting.
Yeah.
Honestly, the whole wedding was incredible.
It was beautiful.
We just ate
It really was.
outside in the middle of
man.
the forest, man. It was like
right next to these redwoods, thousands of year old redwoods, just massive. It was gorgeous. And obviously, congratulations to Nick and his wife, Lindsay. It was honestly a perfect couple days, and it was cool that we were able to get out there. And we thanks to everybody allowing
Logan
us to
and
do
me.
that. Yeah.
I almost asked, like, one of the random questions I almost asked was the same thing. Because, like, we went down this huge, windy road in order to get to this place. And some of the shuttle drives, man, they take it with some, like, it with some juice,
I was
man.
in the very back row of the
They
shuttle.
don't-
They
they-
warn people about the. Yeah, I don't get motion sickness like that, thank goodness. But
they, they move with some heat. But I found myself, like, we went to San Francisco on the final day of our trip. And by the time I was done driving in San Francisco for the whole day, I was a completely different driver. I'm cutting people off, honking, driving, whatever. You just start taking her like, I drive like this now. I drive like the people of this city now, and there's no choice. Because if you don't drive like this, you're not getting anywhere. Right. And so I did like just change my entire driving style for like the whole half of a day. It was it's just weird. Like you just start getting, because as we've joked, I use cruise control at 40.
yeah, what's weird too, Drew? They're sending Cody a bill for the broken glassware. Too.
That would suck.
Do you know?
Middle of the cocktail party.
Shattered into
middle
a
of the
million pieces,
cocktail
man.
party. We're all huddled up talking with Nick, and just everybody stops what they're doing as the glass slammed to the stone floor or whatever it was.
Did they give you any idea how much the bill could be?
No, they don't.
True,
They're not sending a real bill.
We're joking. We're joking, Joe.
I assume stuff breaks. They're not sending a real bill.
You actually thought
I
they were
was going to be sent a real bill?
for one glass? It happens. Bleep happens. But it
You
was
put
just,
a bunch of drunk people in
but
there. So I
everybody-
wasn't even drunk yet. I wish that was the excuse.
But everybody just turned around and Cody wouldn't turn around and look at people.
No.
I'm just saying.
I couldn't face it, man. It hurt.
I'm just saying the way that Cody's talking about the silverware. For all I know,
Because
it's worth
I'm sure it was not a cheap
money.
wedding. I'm sure it was not a cheap wedding. But when we sat there, here's the problem with the glass breaking. Drew, when it broke, we're in the middle of the forest. Even your own words echo. It's like 40 people, and you could have heard a pin drop after it shattered.
Time's moving slower.
I had
than
to
it
be
was.
standing next to the groom when it happened, who did briefly try to blame Alex for the break as well.
I was like, this is not happening. Because Cody had it on a chair, and there was some moisture, and so it slid off. But Nick was joking, and you guys know his personality, and he's like, well, maybe Gold touched the chair. I was like, whoa. Don't blame this on me.
It echoed in the forest. It was the loudest glass break of my... And I've broken a lot of glassware. It was the loudest glass break of my entire life.
All the animals in the forest were like,
That's right.
Where's that coming from?
Yeah,
it's tough.
Mountain lions came down and everything. Yeah.
Just down into the party. Is everyone okay?
Yeah.
I take you guys for at your word. And I thought that there was a bill.
No bill.
No, Drew.
Okay.
No, that wouldn't happen. Cody would have had to have like busted the door off this venue for them to charge him.
Yeah.
On purpose, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to like intentionally be wrecking things, I think.
Like what would have happened if the same thing with the toilet would have happened at this venue?
That would be tough.
That'd be a tough one. How do you explain that one away? Well,
I don't know, man. I don't know. I try to
like
not commit property damage.
if you were at a hotel and the exact same thing happened to that toilet that happened to me,
how do you explain it without being like,
well,
I swear I'm just
but also I'd be
man.
like, I'm not paying for that. Your toilet sucks.
But then you got to get in a fight. You got to get in a whole fight about it, dude. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. That was the trip. We'll talk more about it, I'm sure, whenever. Because Gold had an airplane thing. We can make that the random question tomorrow.
Yeah,
whatever.
maybe so. But let's talk about the Royals pitching for a little bit here, because before the season, if you would have gone through and said that this pitching staff was going to be better, you would have said, okay, that's asking for a lot there. You think there's going to be regression from Seth Lugo or regression from any of these guys. I know then Chris Bubich is now a full-time starter. How's that going to turn out? The bullpen looks like it's going to be improved, all that. Right now, the Royals pitching staff is the second best in baseball. It was actually even number-wise better before this past weekend. They got a 2.99 ERA. Their best ERA in team history goes back to 1972 when they had a 3.22. Now, look, they could still end up with a 3.2. They could still end up with a 3.4, and it's still going to be a top 5, top 10 pitching staff in baseball. But that's how good they're under a 3 ERA. They're going to take on the Astros tonight. The fact that they've been able to have the bullpen improve to this extent, and they're still doing it while they went out and spent money on Carlos Estevez later in the offseason. Hunter Harvey has barely played this year. Lucas Ursay continues to look as great as he did last year. He's just a stud. And I think Carlos still gets underappreciated. But Hunter Harvey not being there, so then who stepped up? Schreiber's all of a sudden becoming a really, really strong reliever for this team. Steven Cruz looks like they found something in him. Limited innings, but still. Yeah. Like this pitching staff, of course, is why they won 16 of 18. Of course, is why they sit in the position that they do.
No one's arguing that, and I understand, because there's always this frustration over, well, are they ever gonna hit? I think this is a really weird time to be negative on the Royals. Like the way that they are playing right now. Why? Why would you bring in that kind of energy to the way that they're playing right now? Because the pitching staff is maybe the single greatest pitching staff in Royals history. Look, time's gonna have to tell on that, Gold. We don't know that as a fact. We can't prove that one way or the other yet. It is pacing towards that, right? We all agree? It's genuinely pacing towards that. There's a pretty good chance this might end up finishing as the Royals' greatest pitching staff. Not their greatest relief pitching staff of all time. Well, we know what that was. That was we know that. That was 2015, right? 2014, whichever one you want to pin your hat on. But between the starting pitching is so much better now than it was. And Cole Reagans currently has the worst ERA on the starting pitching staff. And we know how good he is. He's got the worst ERA just because he got roughed up a couple of times. His ERA is in the 4s versus where it is outside of it. The Royals pitching staff is better than it was last year. And it's mostly because of the bullpen. But the fact that they've taken 0 drop-off in the starting pitching department is of serious note. Because that would have been the easiest regression point, Gold. It'd have been easy to just be like, they're not going to be as good at the starting pitching. But they're just as good at that, in addition to the bullpen is infinitely better. Schreiber, by the way, did anybody see him becoming a fixture in the bullpen?
No, that's the biggest surprise in the bullpen, honestly, this entire season to this point in time. It's why they're in the spot they're in. It's why that hopefully we're going to have a conversation in June when trades are realistic of what they can do to bolster the offense. As they're currently constructed, can they make the playoffs? Yes. Can they win the division and do more than that? No. And that's where the offensive conversation is there. I know some of you are thinking... They're a little
bit better. Massey's hitting better. Vinny's hitting way better.
He is. Jonathan India still has been...
kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere.
You know? Yeah. But their offense has to be better if you think they're winning the division. I think that's. Yes. I think we can all agree on that. And that's where the bar is for them this year. Win the division. Not just make the playoffs, and fair or not. And the division, as we talked about earlier, is way tougher, again, than people thought it was going to be at this point in time. But the pitching staff is why they've got a chance to win every single game. And if you're an opposing team, as much as we say, hey, the Royals offense, you better score X amount of runs. Otherwise, you better only hold a team to a certain amount of runs or you're not going to win. Same thing can be said about the Astros tonight. If you're the Astros and your pitching staff gives up 4 runs to the Royals,
you've lost.
You're screwed.
The Royals are 15-1. When scoring 4 or more runs. Like that alone, that's a pitching stat, by the way, in my opinion. The fact that 4 runs is the only threshold you need to meet in order to win a baseball game with a 98% efficiencies, all that. The more we talk offense, then I just find myself like, just real quick, just in case I missed it, search Jack Caglione, search by latest, see if he's made it to AAA.
We'll get an alert if it happens today. I'm not sure if it's going to happen today or not, but...
Again, it doesn't mean it can't happen Wednesday or Thursday. Traditionally, the Royals organization and many organizations do this in a off, especially since the minor league changed their schedule, they typically do this in an off day situation, unless there's an injury or some other precursor that would, or call up that would justify a midweek thing, like at the big league level. Typically, they would do it today. So Jack Cagliano's getting called up this week. It would most likely, in a high statistical probability, be today. But it's, I don't know, man. It hadn't happened yet, so I don't want to get my hopes up. His numbers are pretty good.
913-586-7965. Just realized Cody is the George Costanza of the Midday Show. Ritz Cracker Conspiracy, broken glass at a wedding, obsessing about a fork. This is a Seinfeld episode.
Oh, yeah.
It really
The wedding
is.
episode.
It really is. So we'll get to the Ram question tomorrow. I was going to tell you something, I forgot. We're going to save it for tomorrow, but and see where you guys are at on. I got a mixed reaction to something there. But
There's always, there's always a little bit of challenge when you travel.
I will say this
Stuff
about
comes up.
we know California is extremely expensive, right? That's not news.
That's not new.
And
Just like when I go to Vegas.
It was just this one meal, I think, because I had another meal that was, I think, better and it was less money. But do you guys care to guess the first day I'm out there on Tuesday? So this is Tuesday afternoon. You hadn't arrived yet, so I'm just like, whatever.
Sure.
So I walked from the hotel to the beach. It's like a 25-minute walk, but I didn't care because, it's beautiful weather.
Where you
or
gonna
whatever.
be?
So I walked to the beach. I'm like, let me stop and get. I was starving. It's like 3 in the afternoon. I hadn't ate anything. I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. I had 2 flights canceled. It was a freaking mess. But anyway, so I'm like, I need to get some food. So I stop at this restaurant. I'm like, I'll just get a salad because I didn't like the rest of the menu, actually. So I get a Caesar salad, Drew, add grilled chicken, and have a beer. They also, at this one restaurant, not anywhere else, they charge a 4% California surcharge, which don't get me started on that ridiculousness.
Oh, boy.
So how much do you
I
think?
had surcharges at multiple restaurants for the service staff to have health care.
This one said 4% surcharge for minimum wage. Sounds like a business owner problem. But anyway, so
that just sounds like not taking care of employees.
correct. So how much do you think the Caesar salad with grilled chicken and a beer costs with tip?
One beer.
Singular. What kind of beer? Domestic or like a
local?
Like an
Domestic.
IPA?
A local brewery.
Okay. That matters a
How
little.
much do you think this?
$22.50.
True. No.
If he's asking this question, it was either $6 or 70. So, 70?
$50 for a salad and a beer. It was a very good salad, but $50 for a salad and a beer. Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous.
real?
And then at night, I had Italian food with a glass of wine, and it was $40. It was less.
You had like dinner, like a full
I had
Italian
fettuccine
dinner
Alfredo
and wine,
and a
not a
nice
beer.
glass of Pinot Noir, and that was less with tip.
$50.
Now the difference is one was on the beach. The salad was on the beach.
It was on
the
the beach.
Italian
It was-
food was in downtown Santa Cruz. That's the difference.
It wasn't next to
The dinner was way better than in all of it.
You're saying the lunch was at, you were
On the
on the
beach.
beach. It was
Yeah,
on the beach.
like on the-
Friday was my expensive eating
Okay.
day. We
Yeah.
went back to the place we
Yeah.
had our wedding
And you were
reception,
with-
and then I went and got sushi at a nice spot.
Yeah, and look, I knew the food. It's California. I did not expect it to be a $20 lunch. I thought, $35. I'm out of here for lunch. $50 for a salad and a beer.
Yeah,
the beer was 10.
I mean,
So the salad was
The
was
chicken,
essentially
what's the
$30.
salad? Well, the salad was like 23, and then add $8 for grilled chicken or something. It was just like
Was it 50 after the tip?
no, it was like I'm just round. It was 49 something. Okay, I rounded up $1.
No, I think
it sounds better
50
saying
or-
50 than 49.
I don't
right?
care. Yeah. 49 after the tip, though, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
People were guessing on the text line. A lot of people guessed $65. Yeah, not quite, but anyway, that's my.
Wasn't cheap.
That was my only complaint. Other than that, it was great. Other than that, it was great. Hotel was good. All of it was good.
Yeah. Hotel was right at the, we were right in downtown.
Thank goodness they didn't put Cody and I's room
Cruz.
next to each other.
Nope.
That would have been bad.
That could have
you
been
know?
a whole different type of story.
It could have been bad.
Sure, if nobody needs
Jeez.
that kind of trouble,
Yeah, it would have been really bad. Awkward. We would have had a Drew incident, maybe.
No, that would have been. My incident would have been able to hold a candle to that incident. If that's what, there is no way.
I don't know if
that
the
my
show would ever
story could-
recover if either of us had to hear each other have sex.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be
no
honest.
way my
This
story
show
would hold any
never
Goodness.
recovers
Oh man.
if if an incident like that occurs on either party.
Oh man.
I mean, we're definitely talking about it if that ever happens. That's
Anything that happens on or off the air, it typically becomes content on the air. That's been our philosophy on the show for a long time.
I knew there would be something from this past week that you guys, something happened to you guys. You guys did something. I was like, I know we're
There
going to
always
talk about
is.
it.
There always is.
I don't
Life
try to.
experience.
Yeah, some of it's just life.
Yeah, it just naturally happens.
I try not.
Like we didn't plan for Cody to drop a glass at the wedding. That was not planned. Just happened. I didn't plan the forks.
I didn't plan on forks becoming conversation. Sometimes things
Bleep happens.
just happen,
All right, up next, we'll get to what's trending and some really cool news around the NBA with Michael Jordan, plus one of the star players in the league once out. That's next.
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in to hear Royals insider Josh Vernier every Wednesday at 12:30.
We need to nip this in the bud. We need to nip
what in the bud? On your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
Maybe you're not on vacation, so you don't have that like regular buzz and you're kind of going through the motions. So it's been like tough. Your workouts haven't been the same. Maybe you've been gaining weight or just feeling tired all the time. All of these things can be signs of low testosterone. At the Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. Simple test, on-site lab. It's easy. You get the results back right there. You don't have to go to a separate doctor's office. And the Low T Center, it's not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T or testosterone replacement therapy, so TRT, for each individual patient. They work with decades of experience on giving you an individualized, personalized treatment plan optimized for each patient. That way, you're not just getting some standard low testosterone treatment. So if you've been there, you're thinking about going there, you want to recommend it down the road, current patients will get a $150 referral credit for each new patient they refer at the Low T Center. And at the Low T Center, you can get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com. Book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
The semifinals are here. That means all the show-stopping action is turning up a notch. Don't miss your chance to bet on all the legendary moments with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel's the best place to find all your favorite player props, and now you can make the smarter play with new performance trends. Want to see if a guy is hitting that over consistently, or maybe they've been flirting with a potential triple-double. Get the latest stats right inside the app and see who's heating up. And once the game starts, that's when things get interesting. You can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. If you don't already have FanDuel, it's not too late to get in on the action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So visit FanDuel.com/Alex to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First on real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com.
If the high cost of living is weighing you down, lighten your load at Hy-Vee. This Saturday and Sunday, get a 25-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $50 purchase. Stock up on groceries and stack up the fuel savings. Earn 25 cents per gallon with your $50 purchase, 50 cents per gallon with a $100 purchase, and so on. The more you spend, the more you'll save. Your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss the 2-day Fuel Saver event this Saturday and Sunday, only at Hy-Vee.
Graduation season is always so busy around our house, and when we have important celebrations, we trust Hy-Vee. They're my go-to partner for all of our family celebrations, and Hy-Vee can help you with your graduation party planning. They have party trays, personalized cakes, cookies, floral arrangements, party decor, and so much more. Plus, you can leave all the prep work and messy cleanup to Hy-Vee with full-service catering for any size celebration. Choose from a wide range of menu options to suit your style and your budget, only at Hy-Vee.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
As you prepare for your Memorial Day gathering, be sure to visit your local grocery store for Gates sauces and seasonings. Both are great on meats, fish, chicken, broccoli, and spinach, as well as hot buttered popcorn, a topping for your dips, or sprinkle Gates seasoning on chips and nuts to add that extra flavor pop. And nothing says Memorial Day like a Gates party tray. Or use Gates sauces and seasonings to spice up your home-cooked meal. So head to Gates Barbecue this Memorial Day. Gates Barbecue. Thanks, with love.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoe horn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check for your wallet first, before hitting the drive-thru.
$6.
Sorry, forgot my wallet. I have change, though. Here's 40 cents, another 40. Ooh, a bicentennial.
What's that?
Oh, gosh.
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
It's Clean Car Month. Right now, get the Pro X1 Car Care Collection Wash Kit for just $19.99, exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
This report is brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is only 100 calories, and the best part, 0 bubbles. Grab it at the K or ask for it at your favorite bars and liquor stores.
Underdog is one of the best places to make entries during playoff basketball. While they score buckets, you score cash over at Underdog. That's because you can choose higher or lower on your favorite player stats, points, assists, rebounds. Say you really like the Knicks tonight. You have those options over at Underdog, and you can do it from your state, as in from the Missouri side, with one of the fastest growing sports games apps available. So join the millions of fans who have already won billions making plays on Underdogs. And their app has over 100,000 5-star reviews with millions of players. If for some reason you don't trust me and you want to trust them instead. And again, it's an easy app to download, easy to make these selections higher or lower. Go check it out over at Underdog. Download the Underdog app and sign up using that promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. The Royals are back at it tonight in Houston. 7:10 first pitch right here on 96.5 The Fan. Your home for the Royals. Ferns on Deck show at 6 o'clock. Of course, they lost their series over the weekend against Boston, but this team obviously still playing very good baseball. They had won 16 of 18 heading into this past weekend series. But it'll be Michael Wacha getting the nod this evening against Houston.
Hopefully off to a better start against Houston. So far, winning teams have gotten the better of Kansas City. We'll see. They've obviously got another weekend series back at home against the Cardinals this weekend. Next up, what's trending? The NFL schedule released today. So far, a couple of leagues already out there. Cowboys and Eagles will kick off the NFL season overall. Most of the rumors have the Chiefs taking on the Chargers in Game 2 and Sao Paulo. for the Friday game. Peacock also announced that they will have their Peacock holiday exclusive. Look, Saturday, December 27th, 2025, standalone game on Peacock will be from a pool of key NFL Week 17 Saturday matchups. So once we see who the Chiefs play in Week 17, we'll know whether or not they're included in the key Saturday matchups, although I would make an argument the Chiefs are always included in that and at risk for being flexed into that spot.
Over in the NBA, we've got some action tonight in that Boston-New York series. The Knicks are up 2-1. This one also at the Garden. That's the first game. Then the late game tonight, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves up 2-1 on the Golden State Warriors, who are still without Steph Curry. 2 games tonight, and then tomorrow we'll obviously see if the Pacers can wrap up their series against the Cavaliers.
Next up on What's Trending, Shams reporting, speaking of the NBA, Giannis is open to a trade for the first time in his NBA career. The multi-time All-Star, one of the best players in the league, has spent his entire career with the Bucks after being drafted by him. Sure felt like they got their stadium, their arena built because of Giannis, but for the first time, he's at least telling people internally that he's open to a trade. He's not publicly demanded a trade yet, which is very common in the NBA. A lot of people think he could be interested in landing with the Lakers.
I saw something that he prefers he's intrigued by a team that plays in a state with no income tax. Oh, that makes some sense, you know?
I mean, yeah. I mean, when you're making that amount of money, I wouldn't blame you. So
well, that would not
California,
be that would not be California.
The opposite. Wants to go play for the Orlando Magic,
Miami Heat,
or the Dallas Mavericks,
right?
Yeah, go down to Dallas.
Look, when you're making that amount of money, I'm sure it doesn't hurt to not pay the taxes, but I imagine it also the state taxes. But I'm also like, you're probably fine. I'm guessing Giannis is going to make enough money to live the rest of his life comfortably.
Oh, he probably already has. Yeah, I mean, like, by that logic, he could just retire and just never work again already. I mean, yes, I understand what you're saying. I understand. That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. The schedule stuff, like I told you earlier, my only thing is I just don't think international games should be divisional games. That's it. That's it.
That should be, in your opinion, that should be the one.
That's the one thing that should be sacred still.
Other than week 1.
Yeah.
Because week 1's weird too. They've started this Friday.
But that's at home at least. Like I'm fine with the kickoff game being divisional. It's just that the Chiefs reportedly playing in Brazil against the Chargers for a divisional game. There's kind of that's what bugs me. That's all. They can play international all they want. I don't care.
Does it bother you week 1 is an international game?
Even more so. Yeah, even more so. But if it was the Chiefs going for a non-divisional game, I wouldn't care as much. I just don't think divisional games should not be at the division home of whoever the home team is. I mean, it's that is weird to me, and it hasn't happened very often in NFL history. But if that's going to be the new or not going to be no longer a roadblock for these type of games, then I guess we'll start seeing it a ton more. They'll guarantee better matchups that way.
A lot of it is they leave it up to the teams. And it's probably more likely to happen in the AFC West than in any other division because the AFC West does not have road games anymore. Denver and Kansas City, half of them.
That's it.
So if you're Denver or Kansas City, you have one true road game in your division a year. You play 6 divisional games. You get 3 at home. You get 2 at a neutral site to maybe almost a home game and 1 in Denver. So it's like for the Chargers, they're not giving up anything, Gold. They're not giving up anything. They get a pigeonhole their international game into the best part of the schedule, right? Because it's right at the beginning of the season, no jet lag bothering you for the end of time, whatever. Yeah. Not backed up to your bye week, none of that. It's all just out of the way and done with. And who cares? You didn't lose a home game anyway.
We're going to find out, by the way, tomorrow, this officially. So tomorrow, the NFL is announcing on Good Morning Football their international games. So that is between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Central Time on NFL Network. That's when they're going to announce it. So by the time we're on the air tomorrow, we're going to know 100% if the Chiefs are playing in that game, which everybody believes it will be. We'll also find out about the other ones, right? Who are the Steelers hosting in Ireland, all that kind of stuff. But today was NBC Peacock announcement. Tomorrow's international game announcement. Wednesday during the day, I think, is like Amazon Prime announcement. Then Wednesday night's the big schedule release show, which just send me the PDF. Thank you very much. But that's what's going on over the next couple of days.
Yeah. So we get at least a good handle on it. Look, Thursday's always fun because I know some people are tired of looking at the schedule. At least to me, that means something. If I have to see one more social media post about a signing for a player that already is getting signed kind of no matter what, I can't take it. Kansas City Chiefs have signed their 4th-round pick, Jalen Roy. Like, yeah, that's how this works now. People don't hold out anymore unless you play for the Cincinnati Bengals.
No, the schedule stuff is fun, one, because you can start to map out your fall a little bit. I've told you, I know there's a lot of our listeners too. They like to go maybe on a road trip once a year to a Chiefs game they pick. Maybe you've just been picking the Raiders because it's Vegas, but I went to the Packers game a couple years ago. This year, Nashville's on the slate. So if the Chiefs play the Titans the right week, that's a trip I'd be interested in going on. Nashville would be a great city.
Do you want to wait till the new stadium though?
I mean, I could, but
you can just go back in the new stadium.
Yes. I wish they already had the new stadium because the current stadium, Nissan Stadium's a dump.
Yeah, you said that.
I've been there for the draft. Like you could tour, you could walk around it during the draft.
You said it's pretty crappy.
It truly is. Like we joke about the concrete here. Like it truly is just a bland. At least Arrowhead's been upgraded and there's a lot of other amenities. Nissan Stadium is truly just concrete. It's just bare bones, crappy stadium. That's what Nissan Stadium. I don't know if it's still.
At least
Nissan
Kansas
Stadium.
City, at least Arrowhead and Kaufman were good at making it look pretty.
Yeah. Oh, and they've done plenty of things since to upgrade it and stuff. It just looks like a stadium built in '99 or whatever it is, and like the Royals and Chiefs stadiums look better than the Titans' current stadium. Now their new one looks incredible. Looks incredible from the outside.
And unique. Doesn't look
like
the same.
They didn't go with
stadium,
the same stereotypical retractable roof design.
I will say it kind of looks like a Topgolf. But
it looks like an arena from the outside, but it's boxed. Like,
that's why I said it looks like a Topgolf.
Mm-hmm. Definitely looks like a bar. Fits into the Nashville bar scene.
Yep, fits in really, really, really nice. You were talking, since we're talking Nashville basketball, some other stuff. I did see that NBC made a big announcement, I think, for the world of basketball.
That's pretty cool.
That Michael Jordan will be a contributor for NBC for their upcoming NBA coverage. If you guys didn't miss the news or whatever, basketball's back on NBC next year. I'm sure we played out whatever, right? Can we play that? Can we legally play it? Can I sing it? What's the rules?
No, you can sing it. You can hum it.
There's all this they're trying to stop. The man's got us down, man. They don't want to play us licensed music anymore. So I got to figure out whether or not.
Cracking down. I think the special contributor is the title they gave Michael Jordan. So
what do you think
is he just doing interviews? Like I'm guessing it's going to be very rare if we see Michael Jordan in studio. He's not going to be Chuck, okay? He's not going to be those guys.
You don't think he's just going to be a full studio analyst all the time? I don't think
chance. So. Special contributor, feature interviews. They'll utilize his voice.
I guarantee they'll use him in their intro.
Yeah.
Like somehow his voice for like an intro will get used everywhere.
I think that, and maybe the opening night next October, he's on set. But look at TNC with their hockey coverage. Wayne Gretzky, I don't know his official title. We could look it up. But he's not on set every time. They've got some former hockey players that are. But Wayne Gretzky's only there big games or whatever, playoff time occasionally. And it's even then, it's not every night. So
he's a studio analyst.
So that's not even, okay, so that's not even what Michael's going to be called. It's special contributor. So that's even less.
I think he shows up in these, how they love doing hey, we had a special sit-down one-on-one interview with LeBron, and it'll be Jordan and LeBron talking basketball before it. And then, yes, for big-time game on Christmas Day, we'll probably see him floating around a set for the big stuff, is my guess. But
how unique is it? I mean, it's weird it's pretty cool.
Anymore, the way the sports have gone, they show up in some talking capacity. Tom Brady's a full-blown color commentator. So the greatest football player of our generation, we watch do this stuff. A lot of the great basketball players and NFL players of the past, we watch do this stuff largely because the checks weren't as good, right? So we've seen them in that capacity a lot over time. Jordan, the most we've seen of him since he stopped playing basketball from a media perspective was a documentary.
Yeah, about him.
We don't see him talking what he thinks about Tyrese Halliburton's dad.
Right. I still don't think he's going to get into that kind of stuff.
I don't know either. I would be interested to know.
My guess, it'd be amazing if he did. My guess, he's going to be more into the specifics and the game itself, or it's going to be mainly just prepackaged stuff. He may not want to travel to the studio. He's like, I'll do this thing. You'll pay me X amount of $1 million.
If I'm in town, I'll be there.
You can use my likeness and my voice. And
he's going to get paid $100 million to lay in the wake?
I don't think it'll be that much, dude.
How much do you guys think he'll get paid?
So NBC signed
eventually this number will come out, right?
NBC signed an 11-year contract. He's not signing up for 11 years.
No.
He's probably on a 1-year little deal. And I don't know, 15 mil, 10 mil?
Probably. I do think it's really cool
He doesn't even need that check either. He's a billionaire. But check's a check. I'm just,
I don't think there's very many athletes that when you look at, this person would make me, even if it's, because traditionally every now and then I might watch, a feature interview like pregame stuff like that. But having somebody give their opinions on something like Michael Jordan, there's few people I think that would just draw a crowd. Like Tiger Woods would do that, I think. but just get people's attention enough to pay attention to it just because of the person who is the interviewer. It's not even the person who's getting interviewed. It's not like he's interviewing LeBron and it's going to make people go, or it's, I mean, that would as well, but Tyrese Halliburton about his dad. It's MJ talking about basketball again, which is a huge draw, I think, for people.
I do think it's like an interesting thing because like when Tom Brady did it, we all had the question of like, do we think he'd be good at it? Michael Jordan essentially like already gave you all the stuff you wanted when he was a player. He'll be great at this. All you want is for a special contributor, all I want is a big opinion. Michael Jordan, as I recall, in the playing, was not short of those, Gold. Not short of big opinions. Like even in the doc, right? He's like, that's your problem because you didn't win anything. Like, that's just an opinion because you didn't win nothing the entire time you were in the league. And so I think he'll be really good for that part of it. Also, I think NBC just wants to like, their whole branding is around like maybe kind of like the vintage part of like NBC on NBA used to be, or NBA on NBC was a thing. The theme song, the imaging, Michael Jordan in the finals. All 6 of the finals he won were on NBC. Like it had like a feel to it. I think they're trying to create that feel again by incorporating Michael Jordan. Probably like the biggest highlight machine the entire time basketball was on NBC.
Them also having Reggie Miller there when Reggie Miller was playing as well during MJ's time on NBC.
I saw a lot of hate for Reggie Miller. Are we done on Reggie Miller? We tired of his commentary?
I'm fine with Reggie. I don't have a problem with his role on air. By the way, NBC officially said they have not announced a specific role for Jordan, calling him a special contributor. Unclear how often he will appear on the network or what his job duties will entail. So it's completely still up in the air.
I just convinced him to take a check.
Yeah,
and then
like, here, we'll figure it out, man. We just want Michael Jordan attached to our broadcast. Good enough for us.
We want to say that out loud.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, it does.
Yeah, I mean, it passes. There's no other broadcaster other than like all-time greats that come into a conversation where we do this kind of talk.
All right, the elephant in the room, because people are texting about it. Elephant in the room.
Okay.
People are saying, Drew, how come you're not at Falcon Lakes today? You could say Drew Nixon. You could say Drew Nixon's golf outing got nixed.
I will say, Drew.
I'll leave it at that.
Drew did not, and it is not Drew who is ducking.
Oh, no.
His Corn Ferry Tour qualifier. I want to be very quick. Drew did not duck this in any way.
I appreciate you for mentioning that.
We don't need to explain the specifics for why or how.
Things just didn't come together enough in the way they needed to make it happen, unfortunately.
But
so that's why Drew's not out there and we're not out there today.
Yeah, we would have loved for that to be a part. I'm not even ruling it out as a future thing that we could probably do.
Now, we are keeping an eye on the scores because we're going to look to see who had the lowest score eventually and find out what it would have taken for Drew not to
we might still get Drew out to the course at some point and see what he shoots. But
that's right.
I'm more than happy to do that.
Unfortunately,
things did not.
It sounds like this person's out there playing.
And Drew would have been playing today. Drew would have been playing today 48 hours after food poisoning. That would have been something.
His flu game. He could have had his flu game.
His flu game.
He'd have that excuse forever, too. That's incredible.
That's exactly right.
Damn it.
I'm dead
now
serious.
I'm even more mad.
I'm dead serious. Last night I was sitting. I was sitting on the couch and I was talking to my wife and I was like,
of the Corn Ferry Tour.
I was like, man, I was supposed to play in that golf tournament tomorrow too. Can you imagine? I have nothing but some saltine crackers and some Gatorade and water in my system. That's it.
Oh, so it was you with the cheese and crackers.
No. Oh, interesting. Crackers and cheese, huh?
No.
Well.
It was not.
Right.
I'm setting up my sting in my head as we speak.
Like you said, I use that fridge. I've used that maybe 2 or 3 times the entire time that I've worked here.
So we'll there are some,
we'll find it.
Sometimes things happen and things can't come together the way you'd like.
At the very least, I will go out and play from the tips, and we'll find a way to get you or in Gold and Dusty or whoever needs to be out there to make sure it's official and I'm not BSing my score.
We can just play together. I trust you. You're an honorable man. I don't think anyone's arguing that.
I will play from the tips.
I'll be playing from not that.
We'll go ahead and play.
Based on my handicap, shouldn't I just essentially be playing from like the closest possible tee?
Yes.
You mean the ladies' tees?
Yeah. I'd say based on my handicap.
Sure.
Shouldn't I be?
I got no shame in that. I don't golf, so I wouldn't care.
I mean, usually play
the
from
senior
like
tees.
Seniors, even better.
I like the courses to just say if your handicap's between this and this is where you should be playing. Forget the
Cody's 10 years away from the seniors tour anyway.
You know.
Jeez.
Honestly, I will not feel bad about playing from those at all. I gotta get back out there and play again.
I'm intrigued now to see the scorecard. Now I wanna see what it would actually be.
Can we track it right now? Probably can.
Now, are you going golfing this week? You're flying to Florida right on Wednesday.
Yes.
And your brother is a golf pro. So you're going down to, is it Pensacola or Panama?
I used to work in Pensacola. It's not Pensacola. It's West Palm Beach. So I'm like
West Palm Beach.
Fort Lauderdale.
Geography.
Beautiful. Are you golfing or are you just going to chill by the beach?
We are going to be golfing,
Okay.
I think 3 times over the course of
Three
the 4 days
times?
that I'm there.
Okay.
Maybe 4.
My goodness.
4 rounds of golf in a 3-day period?
So on Wednesday,
after it.
on Wednesday I get there at 2:45, and I called my brother and said, "Hey, if you want to go play 9 or 18 after I get in, I'm down. We can go play 9." And he said, "Okay, cool." And then his birthday is that week as well.
Are
It
you
is next
shipping
week.
your clubs, or
They're
are
this
you
week.
checking your bag? your clubs?
I'm using my brother's clubs
Right now.
I'm not playing with my clubs.
Okay.
And not that I'm going to use that as an excuse, but
Right now, the current leader to qualify for the Corn Ferry Tour.
the leader,
The lowest score in the
62
clubhouse
is my guess.
66. 6 under.
What's the
66.
worst score? Do we know?
Steven Stallings from Louisville, Kentucky. The
They got
worst
people from Louisville flying.
the
out here?
worst score in the books is an 80. Someone named Sloan from Fort Worth. Shot
What do you think of
8
that,
over.
Drew?
An 8 over 80.
Could you have done that?
Does it show what the yardage is? Anywhere in the
It looked it up before. It was like 6,400.
6,400?
Yeah, it was something like that.
I think I could break 80.
So you're thinking you're
Here
not
we go.
last,
Here
huh?
we go. Here we go again.
We're back.
Here we
Dude, I
go.
just told you we got shot down.
Here we go.
We got shut out.
So they aren't even playing the tips then at Falcon Lakes.
I don't know. I was just guessing at the yardage.
So the tips
They
are
probably
seven-
are playing the tips.
The tips are 7,000.
Okay, then it's probably
Let's-
that. I don't
let's
remember
go
the
with
exact.
7,000.
And some of the people were playing in Fred Arbanis as a reminder, so it could have been that he like.
True.
That
It
is
doesn't.
also
It
true.
doesn't
It could have been
specify.
It's
where
not
it
windy.
is.
It's not windy out today though. It might be windy out there though, but like it seems like a good day to be
I'm
out
just
there.
letting you
Stay
know.
outside,
Yeah.
yeah.
6 under was the best score. Some person named Carson shot a 5 under, and then there was 3 people that they currently call in contention for the other qualifying spots that all shot a 4 under.
Because
so there's a lot of other people
the
left
Corn
to play in the
Ferry
qualifier.
Tour, the actual event is later on this week. It's Thursday, right here in Kansas
Yeah.
City. The Advent Health Championships, I think.
There's
something
still.
like that.
Oh man, Drew, this is the other part that have been bad for you. 4 people
Got kicked
landed
off.
in the did not finish.
So that could have been him.
Could have been injury. Could
Could
have
have
been
been you.
sick,
2
could have been whatever the
withdrawals.
case is.
Could have been
and
they
2
kicked him off.
So 2 were WD, with I just assume is withdrawal.
Yes.
The other 2 were in S. What do we think that means?
Not sufficient. You
Not
suck.
sufficient?
Never started, or has,
never
never started.
or has not started would be my guess.
Okay.
No, these are did not finish.
Not sufficient. Kick their ass
But
off.
there's
the
still
course.
about half the field left to play. So
I
we'll have
was
to get
gonna
a
say
score
there's
update
still-
tomorrow.
Yeah,
at least half the field has not reported their final score yet.
And
Be honest,
80
you're,
though?
you're not.
Could I?
This
Yeah.
is not. See, you're not stressed out today because of this. You would have been a
No.
nervous wreck.
Oh,
This is all good now.
I would, if I would have still had to play after food poisoning, I would have been. And yes, the
we would
text
have
line-
got you a new sponsor. You would have been sponsored by Tums or something on the golf
text line
course.
is correct. There's again.
Pepto.
I said this from the jump. I would never qualify for that. Like really.
Yeah, we knew that. That was always.
you were very honest about
dead
that.
last though. I mean,
It's more about finding out where you would
We
be.
wanted to know if
Hearing
Drew
an
would
80?
finish last at qualifying.
hearing an 80. I think I could. I think that's possible.
I'm trying to look up this guy who, man, this guy is still trying to make the dream come true. New guy to root for in the qualifier. His name's Steven. He's out of Louisville, Kentucky. He's 30.
Okay.
Still
About my age.
Still out here grinding.
Let's
Good
go.
for him. He
He
paid
didn't
his,
give up
he
on the
paid his
dream on Drew.
$500.
Shout out to Steven.
He paid his $500.
He's played in Corn Ferry. He's qualified for Corn Ferry.
Oh.
He's played in actual tournaments before.
Oh wow.
So he's qualified before, not just in.
This is the guy that shot 80. You're saying?
This is the guy who shot the best score.
Okay.
Drew's like, wait. He's like, there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance.
He's actually played in a single PGA Tour event.
Oh,
in
wow.
his life.
Hey,
So he must have qualified for a U.S. Open.
He's pretty damn good.
Love
He's,
that.
And
yeah.
he missed the cut in that one event play.